Part 17. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Bulletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 161. After dinner, maybe they were too tired after a day of playing, so the guests went to rest early. It is worth mentioning that it was not the mature sister Xylan who took the lead to rest tonight, but Gu Huiyan. It was just past 8 o'clock when Gu Huiyan yawned and said he wanted to go upstairs to sleep. At that time, everyone was quite surprised. As for what Gu Huiyan was doing all day today, they didn't even find out in the end. Don't forget to get up early and go to the morning market tomorrow. Before leaving, Sister Xylan gave him an instruction. When Xylan went out to play 2 days ago, she met a local villager and told her that there was a morning market nearby. For celebrities and artists, going to the market is very new, so they naturally want to have some fun. The market is mostly populated by relatively young people. Young people cannot get up so early to attend the early market, so naturally they are not afraid of attracting onlookers. Good. Gu Huiyan nodded and agreed. Shang Zuoyan, Pei Jingshu and others looked at his tired figure going upstairs and couldn't help but feel a little strange. They all thought, could this kid really go to the construction site to move bricks all day? As Gu Huiyan went upstairs, everyone went to rest one after another, and the show was almost over. It is worth mentioning that tonight's heartbeat message session is no different from last night. The actors Su sent it to Xylan, Xylan and Pei Jingshu sent it to Gu Huiyan, Shang Zuoyan sent it to Su Yuntang for official business, and Shen Qingqing sent it to Su Yuntang. Exchange messages with Zhang Shuo. It's just that it was very late, and Gu Huiyan didn't reply, and the program team couldn't help it. Seeing that the lights in his room were still on, some of the program staff were wondering if this guy wasn't trying to be mysterious, right? The staff went over and knocked on the door for a long time before Gu Huiyan came out and opened the door. After a little questioning, he found out that this guy was really a bitch. Fell asleep. How tiring this is. The staff quickly reminded Gu Huiyan to quickly reply to the heartwarming message. You are the only one left. We are still waiting to use it on our official WeChat account. Okay. Gu Huiyan yawned, returned to the room, picked up the phone and took a look. Just like yesterday, it was Pei Jingshu and Sister Xylan who sent him heartwarming messages. Sister Xylan said, I don't know what you did today, but you should rest early. Pei Jingshu said, do you want to ride an electric bike when you go to the morning market tomorrow? Shang Zuoyan didn't send him a heartwarming message. Speaking of which, this girl was quite fiery. Even though she still interacted with Gu Huiyan on a daily basis after her last disgrace, she refused to send him a heartwarming message. Of course, Gu Huiyan didn't expect anything extra. Looking at the two heartwarming messages on his phone, Gu Huiyan chose to reply to Pei Jingshu as usual. It's not just 1 or 2 days since I rejected my sister, it's not less than this day. It was just that he was too tired and a little sleepy today, so Gu Huiyan was not very energetic when replying. He simply edited a sentence and sent it. Good. It wasn't Gu Huiyan who could handle it, he was really out of energy and too sleepy, so he just wanted to say something quickly and go to sleep. Finished. Aha. Gu Huiyan yawned. Throwing the phone aside, he took a rest. Gu Huiyan, who was asleep, was unaware of his heartbeat message. Reply to the wrong person. At this time, the mature sister Xylan has already applied the facial mask, taken care of her and laid down to rest. She does not keep her mobile phone beside her. When she is resting, she usually puts her mobile phone far away because of the radiation, and then turns off the silent mode and turns on the do not disturb mode. No matter how important your matter is, it can't delay my sleep, right? Do you want to reply to Gu Huiyan's touching message? He. The sister didn't expect or think about it at all. When Pei Jingshu was here, did Gu Huiyan ever send a text message to someone else? Pei Jingshu has never sent a heartbeat message to anyone other than Gu Huiyan. In this situation, even if there is an iron wall, she has to get in. The self-aware sister is not good at always taking the initiative, so for the time being, she wants to wait and see. But suddenly, when she turned around, she seemed to accidentally see her phone screen flashing. Xylan frowned. Her phone turned off silent and do not disturb. Incoming messages would not ring, but the screen would light up. It just lit up and then went out immediately. Xylan was not sure if it really lit up. Driven by curiosity, she got up and took a look. It doesn't matter at first glance. At that time, Xylan's red phoenix eyes were wide open. She never expected that Gu Huiyan would reply to her heartwarming message. This, how is it possible? Did Pei Jingshu not send it to him, or did he choose between himself and Pei Jingshu? Although Xylan also wanted this to be the case, it seemed that this was not very realistic. But why? Even though she was my sister, I couldn't think of what was going on for a while. Because of Gu Huiyan's heartwarming reply, Xylan's CPU almost burned out in the middle of the night. Okay. This little scumbag. Xylan frowned and chuckled. The expression on her pretty face full of exotic charm was very strange, and she didn't know whether to cry or laugh. But it's a good thing after all that Gu Huiyan replied to her, right? Laugh. She snickered. But at the same time, she thought, isn't this little enemy taking offense at her? The relationship between him and Pei Jingshu was so hot that she had no intention of getting involved, but now she got into trouble and burned herself. Matter. It was exactly as my sister expected. Gu Huiyan didn't have a few hot searches tonight. The most popular ones were fried steamed bun slices and Xiangpai Piao milk tea. He was absent from the recording for most of the day today. He definitely couldn't dominate the hot searches. That would be too much. Fake. Only. After the exciting information session of Crystal Love Season was announced in the evening, the internet exploded. Fans of Pei Ban Takes Care of CP saw that Gu Huiyan chose to reply to Xylan after receiving heartwarming messages from Xylan and Pei Jingshu, and they exploded on the spot. Gu Huiyan, what are you doing? Are you kidding me? How dare you not reply to my sister Pei's heartwarming message? This is your first time. It's so new. Although I admit that Sister Xylan is pretty good, can you treat Sister Pei like this? You kid, don't tell me that you want to take the scumbag route. Believe it or not. It feels as if Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu have been tied up since Era Singer, and their heartbeat messages every night will definitely not be sent to others. At this time, Gu Huiyan, the old man, suddenly sent it to Sister Xylan. Isn't this causing trouble? In other words, isn't this a scolding? What is he? No one is surprised that he sent a heartwarming message to Shang Xuan, but the problem is that he replied to Xylan. This is so unimaginable that no one knows what kind of brain circuit this kid has or what Go is thinking in his head. Because of this incident, Gu Huiyan was scolded by fans who said Pei Ban takes care of CP. The entire internet felt sorry for Sister Pei and condemned him. Stop talking about them. Even Gu Huiyan's assistant Zhang Nuan, including Zhang Ma, all looked confused. This wave of rhythm was so inexplicable and groundless. Who would have thought that Gu Huiyan's heartwarming message would not be sent to Pei Jingshu? Even some fans who are full of hope for CP and fans of Android CP who are just watching the show are confused. With this move, Gu Huiyan made all the fans look stupid. Let's just say, you don't have to do all the work like this, right? For a while. There are ups and downs online. The next day. Early morning. The weather was not very good, just like the rhythm on the internet, it was a bit dark, clouds covering the sun. It's a bit cloudy, which makes people want to stay in bed and don't want to get up. Ding dong dong. Fortunately, Gu Huiyan set the alarm clock in advance last night, so he didn't actually wake up too late. After waking up, Gu Huiyan got up, tidied up, changed into a refreshing casual sportswear, and went downstairs. Today, he said he was going to catch an early morning market nearby. Last night, Pei Jingshu said she wanted to ride an electric bike with him. Gu Huiyan still smiled naively when he thought of these. Who knew that when I went downstairs, I found that the atmosphere was not right. There were quite a few people in the guest room, because it was very early, and it was only 6 o'clock in the morning. The actors who didn't go out for morning exercises. Zhang Shuo, Shang Zuoyan, Shen Qingqing, Pei Jingshu, and Xilan were all there. Everyone got up quite early, and Gu Huiyan was the last one to get down even though he was hurrying. Good morning everyone. Gu Huiyan greeted everyone politely, but he found that everyone looked at him a little strangely. Especially Pei Jingshu, she glanced at Gu Huiyan resentfully, and then stopped looking at him. It is worth mentioning that Pei Jingshu did not seem to have slept well, and she did not look very energetic. There were very obvious dark circles under her eyes, as if she had stayed up late. Yes, Pei Jingshu did stay up late. She waited until very late last night for Gu Huiyan's heartbeat message. She once thought that Gu Huiyan might be delayed by something like the night before he left, or he was busy with work and forgot to reply to her, and he would reply soon. But she waited until after 2 o'clock in the morning, and Gu Huiyan didn't reply. Pei Jingshu had mixed feelings in her heart. At that time, she was still thinking that Gu Huiyan might have been too tired and fell asleep and forgot, or something. Because it was too late and she had to get up early to catch the early market tomorrow morning, Pei Jingshu didn't think much about it and lay down to rest, thinking that if she got up this morning, Gu Huiyan's heartwarming message might be replied to her. But I still haven't gotten up in the morning. Because of this incident, she didn't sleep well all night. She tossed and turned and barely slept. When she put on makeup this morning, her skin condition and mental state were both very poor. Of course, it's not that my face has collapsed, but it's just that the skin condition is a little worse than before, and it's still hard to see when I put on makeup. It's just that my mental state is a bit ridiculously bad. It is worth mentioning that when she led her team upstairs to do makeup and styling on Pei Jingshu in the morning, Pei Ya seemed very happy and talked about various things in front of Pei Jingshu. This guy Gu Huiyan is half-hearted and very carefree. He definitely isn't true to you. What I said earlier, I already knew he was not a good man. Now it has come true. I told you there are no good things in men. Sister, I am sure. I won't lie to you. You should be more careful in the future. Don't let just any man fool you. Said a lot. She finally found a way to attack Gu Huiyan. That's called an eloquent person. And maybe it wasn't until she heard it from her sister that Pei Jingshu finally knew that Gu Huiyan really didn't send a heartwarming message to her, but to someone else. Pei Jingshu was in a daze at that time. After the makeup artist finished applying her makeup, she asked her whether she was satisfied or not, but she didn't even hear her. She couldn't accept this fact. But my sister is still nagging. This made her unable to help but feel a little shaken by Gu Huiyan. Could it be that he was really half-hearted? Pei Jingshu doesn't believe it. She didn't believe that Gu Huiyan's kindness to her for so long, the sparks between them, and the ambiguity were all fake. But do you want her to treat Gu Huiyan as usual? She couldn't seem to do it. Pei Jingshu has never experienced the feeling of being betrayed by others. She has always been firmly chosen by others. So she doesn't adapt. Because of this, when she saw Gu Huiyan early in the morning, she didn't know how to talk to him. She looks like that. Not to mention how distressing it is. When the show started airing, the barrage was filled with "I feel sorry for Sister Pei. The brush is going crazy. As for Gu Huiyan? You old man, why don't you get out of here? Good friend ice room. Hitui. Don't let labor and management see you. Otherwise, I'll cut it into pieces for you. All in all, Gu Huiyan was scolded badly because of an own incident. In comparison, we little Mustang Shang's Huiyan is quite happy today. Today, her hair was tied into two very cute buns, which fell on both sides of her head. She was very naughty, and she was still very hot in what she wore. A colorful camisole and a pair of high-waisted loose jeans, which were narrow at the top and wide at the bottom, made her look very sexy. Thin. When she saw Gu Huiyan, she even chirped up to say hello. She didn't know why she was so nice to Gu Huiyan today, which made Gu Huiyan very confused. Shang Xueyan's mentality is quite funny. Gu Huiyan's heartbeat message was not sent to her, but to Xylin. How happy was she? But actually, for Shang Xueyan, she and sister Xylin are evenly matched and competing fairly, but with Pei Jingshu, they are a bit weak. As long as Gu Huiyan doesn't send the heartbeat message to Pei Jingshu, it will be good for her to send it to anyone. In addition, there are only a few days left in the program recording, and the hand-holding phase is about to come. If something like this happens at this time, isn't it God helping her? Although Sister Xylin was also very happy, she did not show it because she knew very well that what she showed now would not only be rude to Pei Jingshu, but would also easily attract attacks from the angry CP fans on the internet. My sister is very good at carrying it. Just quietly preparing things for everyone to go out. On the other hand, the best actor So looked at Gu Huiyan this morning with a very unkind look, as if he was about to stab him. Gu Huiyan had experienced this kind of look several times before. He probably caught Gu Huiyan rubbing Sister Xylin's feet, he caught them drinking a bowl of rice noodles together, he caught them riding a horse together. Wait for those times. This made Gu Huiyan very confused. Except for Zhang Shuo and Shen Qingqing, everyone seemed to look at him strangely. When Sister Xylin called everyone to go out, he talked to Pei Jingshu, but Pei Jingshu didn't even look at him. Gu Huiyan. Why does it feel like everything changes after just one sleep? What's the situation? Gu Huiyan was so frightened that he even glanced at the system mall. If the system hadn't still existed, Gu Huiyan would have suspected that everything that had happened during this period was just a dream. What on earth are you thinking? When he was leaving, Gu Huiyan's assistant Zhang Nuan came over and asked. What did I think? What did I do? Gu Huiyan scratched his head and looked confused. Zhang Nuan told him completely about the heartbeat message he sent back to Xylin. Ah! Gu Huiyan looked very shocked at that time, so shocked that several guests in front looked at him strangely. Gu Huiyan quickly waved his hands and smiled to express that it was okay. After dealing with the guests, he told Zhang Nuan that it was impossible, absolutely impossible. He clearly sent it to Pei Jingshu last night. How could he send it to Sister Xylin? Slander. Someone will slander him. You will know if you take out your phone and look at it, Zhang Nuan said. Gu Huiyan then took out his phone and took a look at it. He was so confident at first, but everyone was dumbfounded after reading it. I took home a bowl of Tseo's rice bowl. This. Gu Huiyan stuttered at the time and didn't know what to say. Looking back now, Gu Huiyan seemed to have some pictures in his mind. It seems that he was too sleepy last night. At that time, a message notification came up on his phone. Gu Huiyan didn't even open the lock screen to unlock it. He just clicked reply after reading the message content. Thinking of saving trouble, I fell asleep. I didn't even confirm it after sending it, so I just went to bed. Well, something happened. Wrong person. The crux of the matter is, he was too tired and wanted to save trouble, so he sent a good, and this good is completely applicable to the heartwarming messages sent by either Xylin or Pei Jingshu. There's just something, there's no way to explain this. Even if you jump into the Yellow River, you won't be able to wash yourself away, okay? Made a mistake. At that time, Jang Nuan felt numb when she heard him say that he had pronounced it wrong. When Mother Jang learned about this, she almost came over with a knife to vent her anger on Pei Jingshu. What is this? The heartwarming message was sent to the wrong person. I really didn't mean it. Gu Huiyan explained. Zhang Ma listened and believed it, but Zhang Ma said, whether I believe what I say or not, the most important thing is that Pei Jingshu believes. Whether they believe it or not is secondary. The key is for Pei Jingshu and the fans to believe it. Because of an own incident, fans now directly label Gu Huiyan as a heartless man and start criticizing him whenever they see him. His attitude is not much better than the last cow dung explosion incident. It's just not that up to date. This. Gu Huiyan had a headache on his face. After thinking for a long time, he asked Ma Jiang. How about I say that your program team asked me to send it to Sister Xylin on purpose to popularize the topic? Mother Jiang. You are really a human being. She scolded Gu Huiyan back then. But should I say it or not? Gu Huiyan's method is really feasible. After all, if it hadn't happened yesterday, Crystal Love Season would have been almost unpopular due to Gu Huiyan's absence for most of the recording. It's not impossible that the program team would be so excited about this matter. There are netizens on the internet who scolded their program team for not having any lower limit for popularity. Looking at it this way, Gu Huiyan is a real talent and has the potential to be a public relations person. But if they do this, it will be equivalent to focusing all the firepower on their program team. They cannot afford to take the blame. Of course, Gu Huiyan just wanted to talk about this matter, and it was definitely more than just letting the show crew take the blame. When he went back, he followed Pei Jingshu, scratching his head and always looking like he didn't know how to open his mouth. When Gu Huiyan was explaining to his staff, he was overheard by Pei Jingshu and other assistant staff, so Pei Jingshu actually knew about it now. When she learned the truth, for some reason, Pei Jingshu suddenly breathed a sigh of relief and felt that a big stone hanging in her heart suddenly let go. But it's definitely impossible to let Gu Huiyan go like this. I don't know if Gu Huiyan, an old man, has ever heard of a saying called, "It's a temporary pleasure to torture your wife, chase her to the crematorium." Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 162. Car Rental Agency. The morning market is not far away, but it is not something everyone can get there on foot. Dali is a tourist city and there are many car rental agencies here, which sell all kinds of electric vehicles and cars, including convertibles. The key is that it's cheap and not expensive. The most you can rent for a day is a few hundred yuan. Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu had rented an electric car together before, so they were considered regular customers. On the other hand, for the rest of the people, it was their first time here and it was quite new. Speaking of which, the program team could actually send them there, but Xylin wanted to experience the feeling of driving by herself, so she asked everyone to rent a car. Wow, this looks good. I choose this one. I want this. Shang Zuoyan and Shen Qingqing were chattering about choosing cars. Although there were not many super luxury cars here, there were some convertibles in very flashy colors. As for Shang Zuoyan, she just likes those weird colors. Are you still riding an electric bike? Gu Huiyan stood next to Pei Jingshu, scratching his head and saying with a reserved look. He looked like that, naive and silly, as if he was afraid that Pei Jingshu would be angry. This made Pei Jingshu want to laugh a little, and the corners of her mouth raised slightly. Of course, she held back and didn't smile. She just raised her arrogant chin and walked towards Sister Xylin, ignoring Gu Huiyan. Hitui! Get out of here, you bastard! Stay away from me, Sister Pei! Ryoyo Himuro! The barrage was also circulating, showing no kindness towards Gu Huiyan. It just so happened that the actor Su was beside the two of them and witnessed this scene. He couldn't help being amused and said to himself that Gu Huiyan was really a talent. So many of them were riding electric bikes. Eh? Wait. But suddenly, the actor Su thought of something, and his eyes lit up. Electric car. Ride for two. Very romantic, isn't it? He can ride with Xylin. It just so happened that the morning market they were going to was not that far away. There was not much sunshine today and it wasn't very hot. The temperature was just right. Riding an electric bike would be more refreshing than driving a car. Moreover, it is definitely not easy to park in a place like a market, so riding an electric bike is more convenient than driving. Thinking of this, the actor Su suddenly admired Gu Huiyan. Ahem. So when everyone was choosing a car, he took the initiative to talk about the idea of riding an electric bike. After clarifying the pros and cons, not to mention, it was unanimously approved by everyone. Let's go, and choose an electric car. Shang Xuoyan chirped and ran towards the electric car. She had long wanted to ride an electric car. Some of the electric cars here were very cute and made her feel more interesting than cars. Shang Xuoyan chose a pink electric scooter, which was very similar to her style. Those who didn't know it thought it was her own. Others also chose electric cars one after another. Maybe it was a coincidence. Gu Huiyan saw the white electric bike he and Pei Jingshu were riding before, so he chose this one. Pei Jingshu happened to be waiting at the door, so he rode over. Pass the helmet to Pei Jingshu. At this time, Pei Jingshu was wearing a simple and elegant white dress and a pure white jacket. Her long black hair was hanging down casually, and she had the aura of a famous lady. Facing Gu Huiyan's helmet, she actually wanted to ignore him just like before. But when I saw his honest look, I couldn't bear it. She wondered if Gu Huiyan sent the wrong heartbeat message last night because he was too tired. She couldn't get into too much trouble with Gu Huiyan, that would make her look a little ignorant. Plus, the electric bike Gu Huiyan chose was one they had ridden together. So Pei Jingshu stopped being pretentious and raised her hand, intending to pick up Gu Huiyan's helmet. But who knows, right now? Did he? Suddenly a horn sounded from behind. Gu Huiyan, get out of the way, get out of the way, get out of the way. Shang Xuoyan shouted and rushed over on her little pink electric bike. I go. Fortunately, Gu Huiyan hid in time, otherwise he would have been hit by her. What are you doing? Gu Huiyan's mouth twitched. Shang Xuoyan glanced at him, secretly stuck out her tongue at him playfully, and then patted the back seat of her electric car. Get in the car, Pei Jingshu, I'll take you. Gu Huiyan. Then. Gu Huiyan had the heart to stab Shang Xuoyan. I have never felt that this woman deserves a beating so much. Pei Jingshu looked a little helpless, and a wry smile flashed across her beautiful face, but she didn't mean to blame Shang Xuoyan, and actually got on Shang Xuoyan's electric car. Let's go. As soon as Shang Xuoyan turned the switch, she took Pei Jingshu away. Shang Xuoyan. Gu Huiyan's back teeth were almost broken. At this time. Later. The actor Su rode a grey shiny electric car that suited his temperament very well and came to Xylin. He handed the helmet to Xylin and said with a smile. Come up, I'll take you. He is very gentlemanly and polite. Even if he is riding an electric bicycle, Su Yuntang can ride with a business sense. No one else can do it? Xylin smiled awkwardly. To be honest, she didn't want to sit in the back seat of Su Yuntang's electric car. She wanted to ride another one by herself. But looking at others, it seems like two people are in a car, so it's a bit wrong that she doesn't sit in the car. While he was struggling, he suddenly saw Gu Huiyan sitting alone on an electric car at the door, gnashing his teeth in the direction where Shang Xuoyan and Pei Jingshu left. My sister smiled brightly, pointed in the direction of Gu Huiyan and said, I'll take Xiao Gu's car. With that said, she walked towards Gu Huiyan. Su Yuntang. At that time, The actor Su had a black question mark on his face. What the hell is MD? Why didn't Gu Huiyan take Pei Jingshu with him? Everyone else is stupid. The reason why he took the initiative to propose riding an electric bicycle was actually just to drive Xylin. He thought that Gu Huiyan would definitely be in one car with Pei Jingshu, then Zhang Shuo and Shen Qingqing would be in one car, Shang Zuoyan would be in one car, and he and Xylin would be in one car. So nice. But why did Pei Jingshu get into Shang Zuoyan's electric car and Gu Huiyan freed up the back seat? Movie King Su is numb. Just in time. Gu Huiyan sighed. Is there anyone in the back seat? As a gust of fragrant wind came, Xylin, a mature sister wearing a floral skirt, walked over. Her big waves seemed to be carrying the wind, blowing a nice fragrance. Oh, no one. Gu Huiyan naturally saw what his sister meant and handed the helmet to Xylin. The elder sister put on her helmet, straddled her legs and sat in the back seat of Gu Huiyan's electric car. Let's go, she said as if she was a fool. Shang Zuoyan and Pei Jingshu were both gone, but Gu Huiyan didn't hesitate and turned the switch to open the way. It is actually very comfortable to ride an electric bike in the early morning. There is no sunshine today, it is a bit cloudy, but it does not look like it will rain. It has been hot and dry for a few days, and the air is very cool. It is cool on the body without feeling cold. In the camera, Xylin couldn't help but raise her head, close her eyes, and carefully feel the comfortable feeling of the wind blowing on her body. The sister who raised her head, both her face and neck were extremely white and beautiful. This is something you can't experience while driving. Soon, Gu Huiyan caught up with Shang Zuoyan and Pei Jingshu, and the movie stars Suhe Zhangshuo and Shen Qingqing also followed. It is worth mentioning that although the actor Su is bitter, Shen Qingqing is actually not much better than him. I saw that Gu Huiyan was driving Sister Xylin, and when he arrived at her place, she was driving Zhangshuo. That's right, Zhangshuo didn't want to ride and asked her to carry him. Shen Qingqing asked him why he didn't want to ride anymore, and he said he didn't want to ride. He looked like he was dragging him. That idol has a heavy burden. To be honest, Shen Qingqing has always liked Zhangshuo. She used to really regard him as an idol, but recently as we get along with him, she feels less and less like him. She feels that it is very tiring to get along with such an idol. On the contrary, it is very comfortable to get along with people like Gu Huiyan. There is no need to be reserved at all, and you can say anything. In about 20 minutes at most, they arrived at the nearby morning market. There are many people coming to the market in the morning, and there are many things for sale in the market. In addition to some common vegetables and fruits, there are also some local special medicinal materials, mushrooms, fruits and so on. There were many fruits that Gu Huiyan had never seen before. There are also some ethnic costumes, as well as some local specialties, special snacks, and so on. It is worth mentioning that there are many flower sellers with various brightly colored flowers, which have attracted the favor of Shang Zuoyan, Shen Qingqing, and others. Due to the climate, flowers grow well here. It is said that there is a wholesale flower market in Kunming. When she saw the flowers, Pei Jingshu glanced at Gu Huiyan subconsciously, because the last time they went to the ancient city for breakfast, Gu Huiyan bought her a bouquet of flowers. Although it was not expensive, the bouquet of flowers was still placed in her room, and she would ask the staff to take care of it when she left. Gu Huiyan was also sensible. He specially selected a few bunches that he thought looked good and combined them for Pei Jingshu. For you, he said. Pei Jingshu smiled. She liked this very much. She thought of it, and he also thought of it, the feeling that the two of them were connected. Gu Huiyan, who bought it for her, also made her feel a little relieved. Just when I was about to raise my hand to pick it up. Wow! So beautiful! Shang Zuoyan appeared out of nowhere, snatched it away, and said. Gu Huiyan, you are very good at fighting, you are quite good looking. Gu Huiyan, pen. To be honest, if he wasn't recording a show, Gu Huiyan would definitely tell Shang Zuoyan, "Don't force me to slap you in a market with so many people." Pei Jingshu smiled softly. Normally she would not allow Shang Zuoyan to snatch her flowers, but today, she just taught Gu Huiyan a lesson. She didn't care anymore. Keep going back and shopping. This morning was actually quite comfortable. The temperature was just right, neither too cold nor too hot. After shopping around, we all found a rice noodle shop for breakfast, took a short rest and then continued shopping. Leisure and entertainment. It's just that Xiao Gu is not in a good mood today. MD was misunderstood last night because of a mistake. Pei Jingshu hasn't said a word to him yet. Every time he wants to go to Pei Jingshu, Shang Zuoyan, this woman will always pop up. Make trouble. Gu Huiyan was speechless. Have no choice. After eating and shopping, he had no choice but to give up for the time being and decided to immerse himself in the market first, so as not to go to waste. To be honest, the market here may give Gu Huiyan a good feeling because of the scenery and different customs, but in fact, you have to look at the things sold. That's really not as good as the north. There's no comparison. Take Gu Huiyan as an example. He is from Shandong. If you search online for the Shandong market, especially the videos of the New Year's market, then it's called real market. Burritos, grilled skewers, rice cakes, Orleans grilled chicken legs, pork head, marinated food, pan-fried fish. Just the variety of food will dazzle you. You can eat it from beginning to end, and every bite will fill you up. Gu Huiyan used to go to the market with his family, and usually didn't eat in the morning. When he got to the market, he would eat something here and there, and then he would be full. Where else would it be the same as here? You would have to find a restaurant to eat. But this is easy to understand. After all, this is a tourist city, focusing on tourism, and other places are relatively less focused. Moreover, the northern market is originally simple and rough, but here it is more sophisticated. Speaking of which, the things the guests bought at the market were quite interesting. Basically, the things sold in the market are daily necessities of firewood, rice, oil, and salt. They are not sold to tourists like in the ancient city. So in fact, you ask Shang Zuoyan and the others to buy some vegetables, soy sauce, etc. These things are not very realistic. Celebrities don't like to eat very much, so apart from buying some fruits, they don't buy much to eat. That is to say, Shang Zuoyan is a foodie. When she sees a unique food, she can't walk and has to stop and buy one. Because there were so many people in the market, not many photographers came in, and naturally no assistant staff followed. The unattended Shang Zuoyan was like a runaway corgi, as if she was in heaven, showing off. What left Gu Huiyan speechless was that she dragged Pei Jingshu so hard that he had no chance to penetrate. Depend on. What a shame. Shen Qingqing and Sister Xylin were interested in some flowers, local clothing, jewelry, etc. The actors who accompanied them, while Zhang Shuo was doing nothing. How do you sell this? Passing by a stall selling kitchen supplies, Gu Huiyan picked up a pair of very long chopsticks and asked. 2 yuan, the boss replied. Then give me a pair. Gu Huiyan paid and got a pair. What is this for? Siren asked. Yeah, why did Brother Huiyan buy this? Shen Qingqing asked. This is for frying things. Gu Huiyan replied casually. I had a hard time using those short chopsticks when I was making fried buns yesterday. As soon as these words came out. Puff. Some in the audience laughed. Ding, the host has successfully grounded himself and gained exposure, and the points are at 91x5. Points are given to Gu Huiyan. Although there was a lot of cursing on the internet today because Gu Huiyan sent the wrong heartbeat message, the rhythm of this wave was far worse than that of fried cow dung. Many people came to watch the show and not to curse. Let's just say that among these celebrities, except for Gu Huiyan, none of them seemed to be coming to the fair. they were all here to have fun. After walking around, Gu Huiyan didn't carry any vegetables or meat, but he still carried some practical things. It's not that he doesn't want to buy it, it's mainly because Crystal Courtyard has supplies. If he buys it, won't he save money for the program team? It is worth mentioning that Gu Huiyan bought 2 bags of silkworm chrysalis. Yeah. Why did you buy this? Shen Qingqing, the little clipper, was following him. When he saw Gu Huiyan buying silkworm chrysalis, his scalp went numb and he screamed. Eat. Gu Huiyan said casually. This thing is high in protein and delicious. When Gu Huiyan came back from Shaxi to buy fried skewers the day before yesterday, he had eaten a few skewers of fried silkworm chrysalises and liked them very much. It's not difficult to make this thing. Just sprinkle some salt after frying. It's no different from fried peanuts. The small one is delicious, the big one is a real treat. Gu Huiyan bought 2 bags, one small and one big. He would fry it when he went home. It would be very fragrant. Alas! Shen Qingqing immediately hid behind Sister Xylin, looking at Gu Huiyan as if he was scary. He. Sister Xylin just laughed. In fact, she also thought fried silkworm chrysalis was delicious, but the calories were too high, higher than fried steamed bun slices, so maybe everyone might not eat it. After buying silkworm chrysalis, he didn't know if he was addicted to buying it, but Gu Huiyan bought some when he saw someone interested. I saw someone selling liangpi, so I bought one, and then the aunt who made liangpi added an extra piece of liangpi. Gu Huiyan had a big appetite, and there were many people in the crystal courtyard. Everyone said they would not eat, and each one ate more quickly than the other. Of course, if one portion was not enough, he would have to add more. Can't you buy 2 copies? Shang Zuoyan asked with a small mouth. This is more cost-effective, Gu Huiyan replied. Buying 2 portions is the price of 2 portions, and adding a skin is the price of an extra skin. In fact, the weight is not much different. Shang Zuoyan. For a moment, it was unclear whether Gu Huiyan was a young popular artist or the father of her family. Ahaha. The audience laughed like crazy and once again contributed system points to Gu Huiyan. Ding, the host has successfully grounded himself and gained exposure, and the points are at 91x5. It is worth mentioning that when Gu Huiyan wanted to buy something, such as a watermelon, GTOU had it, but he did not buy it from GTOU, but asked the price first. I asked all the way to the end of the episode. When I come back, I only buy the ones that are cheap and the ones that are good. The audience is particularly kind to this scene. The barrage is flashing. Why is he the same as when my mother took me to the market? Ha ha ha. I'm sure I won't get ripped off if I follow you, brother Gu, to the market. As expected of you, Gu Huiyan. Generally, the things sold in the market are relatively expensive when sold at the market. Generally, experienced adults will ask the price first when they go to the market. After asking along the way, they will probably know the price of something today. Find out which store sells good things, compare the products, and then compare the prices. When I come back, I will buy it all the way. After buying it, it's time to go to school or go to work, ba. Chuangzai Lulu, a kind of plant. In short, you won't be cheated if you buy it this way, which is a very smart way. In general, young people rarely buy like this, and it is only adults who do this. Therefore, Gu Huiyan's approach resonated with everyone. They all said that Gu Huiyan was very young but did things like the parents of his family. It is worth mentioning that some netizens are watching the drama at home, and their parents will watch it when they have nothing to do. Occasionally when they see such a link, they can't help but nod and say in praise. This young man knows how to live a good life. A survey shows that Gu Huiyan has a pretty good reputation among middle-aged people. When leaving the market, the guests basically didn't carry anything, they just came to experience and have fun. On the contrary, It was Gu Huiyan, who was carrying several bags in his hand. What was worth mentioning was that he was carrying a large watermelon in his right hand. When the cameras showed this big watermelon, the audience burst into laughter. Is this the watermelon you stabbed in time singer Gu Huaqiang? Zheng Yunbin, I was so scared at the time. Ahahaha, I almost forgot his nickname Gu Huaqiang. Maybe because he was carrying too many things, Pei Jingshu happened to come over. The kind-hearted sister Pei hesitated for a moment and said, "Let me carry one for you." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 163. When Pei Jingshu took the initiative to help Gu Huiyan carry things, the barrage exploded on the spot. Sister Pei, what are you doing? Don't forgive this scumbag. He won't even send you any heartbeat messages. You love brain, I'm really. Gu Huiyan was also stunned for a moment. Turning to look at Pei Jingshu. By chance, Pei Jingshu was also looking at him. Their eyes met in mid-air. Gu Huiyan smiled naively and said, "No, I can carry it, it's not much." Pei Jingshu pursed her lips and smiled, and said nothing more, but it seemed that the story of the morning had already turned over. Shang Zuoyan. Aim. It's a pity that she was doing things early in the morning, but she still didn't ruin their relationship. Impressed. Not far away, the mature sister Xylin also smiled sweetly, but her smile was a bit sad. This morning, she witnessed Gu Huiyan trying to make Pei Jingshu happy many times. When a few people returned to the place where the electric cars were kept, someone was setting up a stall nearby. An ant was selling some green plums. Shen Qingqing was so stupid that she had never seen these before and wanted to buy two to try, but Gu Huiyan pressed them. Live. Don't buy it, it's so boring. Shen Qingqing was stunned for a moment and looked at Gu Huiyan strangely. Brother Huiyan, how do you know this stuff is sour? Gu Huiyan was at a loss for words for a moment, then he thought for a moment before saying. I ate before. Oh. Shen Qingqing nodded and said nothing more. Several people got on the bike and headed back. It is worth mentioning that when Gu Huiyan went back, he wanted Pei Jingshu to ride in his car, but when he came, he took Sister Xylin in his car, so now Sister Xylin came over, making it impossible for him to look for her again. Pei Jingshu. A few people rode back. Gu Huiyan bought a lot of things in the car, a lot of bags, and Shang Zuoyan also had a lot of food, drink, and fun. Movie star Su also bought some souvenirs and planned to go back and make them. They can be regarded as returning with a full load. On the way back, Xylin sat behind Gu Huiyan. Although her sister and Gu Huiyan were riding in the same car, they still kept their distance. However, when they were halfway there, she saw no one around them, so she suddenly asked Gu Huiyan. So, did you send the wrong heartbeat message last night, or was it requested by the program team? Xylin never heard about it from the staff, but she guessed it from Gu Huiyan's reaction. He had no reason to send it to himself. Gu Huiyan was stunned for a moment and couldn't help but smile bitterly. Made a mistake. Sister Xylin gave Gu Huiyan the impression of being a very gentle big sister. He could discuss anything with her and talk to her. The outfits Gu Huiyan wore for his time singer appearance were all chosen by his sister through a temporary air connection. Therefore, Gu Huiyan rarely avoids anything when talking to Xylin. He. Xylin chuckled. Although she acted very calmly, her expression occasionally flashed a hint of gloom. I mainly spent last night. Gu Huiyan explained to Xylin that he was too tired last night and responded to the wrong person from the lock screen. Xylin just listened and said nothing. A long time. When Gu Huiyan finished speaking, She gently lay down behind Gu Huiyan and said in his ear. Then you never thought that your sister would be sad? Have you ever thought that I would be sad if you told me unscrupulously that you sent me a heartwarming message by mistake? Have you ever thought that I would be sad if you sent me a heartwarming message but coaxed Pei Jingshu all morning? Have you ever thought that even though I know it's impossible for you to send me a heartwarming message, I still hope that you sent it to me specifically and not by mistake? Have you ever thought that by doing this, you deceived your sister's feelings? These. Siren wanted to say it. And all of this was merged into one sentence and told to Gu Huiyan. As soon as these words came out, Gu Huiyan was stunned at that time. At this time, their electric bike was not riding very fast, and the wind was not too loud, so Gu Huiyan could hear Xilan's words clearly. She leaned down to speak in her ear and heard it more clearly. Maybe it was because Xilan came to speak in his ear. Gu Huiyan could vaguely feel a soft touch coming from his back. People are not afraid of seeing but afraid of imagining. The imaginary pictures in the brain will make it easy for people to fantasize. Of course, that's definitely not what Gu Huiyan should care about now. But what Xilan said. Sister Xilan's words immediately silenced Gu Huiyan. Yes. Like. He really didn't think about Sister Xilan's feelings. This morning, I only focused on coaxing Pei Jingshu, showing that I felt sorry for Pei Jingshu, which made it a mistake to send a heartwarming message to Sister Xilan. It's surprising that Siren feels better. My sister is also a proud woman. Pei Jingshu of Xiajiabiu is better than her in no way except age. At best, she is evenly matched. Why was it so wrong to send her a heartwarming message? Hug, I'm sorry, Sister Xilan, I. For a moment, Gu Huiyan didn't know what to say. In fact, Gu Huiyan was not so serious when he asked Shang Zuoyan, do you like me? He just brainstormed for a while and came up with a way to deal with it. But when Xilan pressed him, he was immediately beheaded. Sister Xilan's words are indeed too lethal. Pook. Fortunately, Xilan, who was sitting behind Gu Huiyan, suddenly smiled and said. Look at how scared you are, I've already guessed that you pronounced it wrong. She giggled. Such a smile actually relieved the awkward atmosphere and made Gu Huiyan breathe a sigh of relief. Scared me. He couldn't help but say this. Who knew that before she could breathe a sigh of relief, Xilan asked again. Why are you shocked? I. Gu Huiyan immediately tensed up after not relaxing for a few seconds. Sometimes loose and sometimes tight. To be honest, this is just riding an electric bicycle. If he were to talk to Xilan face to face, Gu Huiyan would definitely want to find a place to hide. Sister Xilan's feeling of oppression. It's too strong, isn't it? Giggle. Xilan giggled, finding it quite interesting to tease Gu Huiyan. But who could tell how lonely she was from her smile? I left the house after 6 o'clock, and it was already after 9 o'clock when I returned to the crystal courtyard. Speaking of people who don't get up early all year round, if you get up early every once in a while, you will really find that the world is very different from what you remember. You will find that you have enough time. It's enough for anything. Assistant Shang Zuoyan even asked her to practice dancing for a while, leaving Shang Zuoyan speechless. It is worth mentioning that Gu Huiyan, the old man, put on his shoes and went out not long after he came back to put down his things. Where's Brother Huiyan? The little clip wanted to ask Gu Huiyan for some snacks, but he couldn't find anyone after searching for a long time. Everyone looked at each other and said they had not seen Gu Huiyan. Maybe I went out to buy something. Xilan washed her hands in the yard, brushed back the stray hair on her temples, and chuckled. That's it? Everyone nodded, probably thinking so. But Gu Huiyan didn't come back until lunch. The guests were a little confused and asked the staff. The staff said they didn't know and they didn't see anyone else during lunch. The actor Su even left some food for him. Gu Huiyan didn't come back until the time they came back from playing yesterday, that is, in the evening. When I came back, it was the same as last night, my head was covered with sweat, my hair was soaked with sweat and tangled, the chest and back of my shirt were soaked, and my shoes were not very clean. It is worth mentioning that when he came back today, he was holding a bottle of ice-cold Sprite and drinking. Gurgling. There was soda water floating on the surface of the green bottle of ice-cold Sprite. Gu Huiyan raised his head and drank it hard. It was quite enjoyable. After drinking. Hiccup. A burp came out, feeling relieved both physically and mentally. What the hell are you doing, kid? Shang Zuoyan asked suspiciously, and the others were also asking. No matter how he asked, Gu Huiyan just said that he had a job. Everyone was puzzled. How could you be so miserable at work? By the way, Gu Huiyan has been getting darker and darker in the past 2 days. The ultraviolet rays here are very strong. He rarely uses sunscreen or wears sun protective clothes. He has been in such a mess every day these past 2 days. It's really special. It's like going out to move bricks. In this regard, Gu Huiyan only explained that he played ball for a while when he came back. It makes everyone so depressed. Forget about them, even the audience was speechless. Why has this old man been doing so many low-level things these past 2 days? Heartbeat messages can be sent to the wrong person, and then the recording is over in 3 or 4 days, and then disappear all day long. What are you doing? You kid just made me like you a little bit, so you're just playing with this steamed shrimp head thing, right? The heartbeat message matter has been cleared up. Although Zhang Ma did not let the show crew take the blame for Gu Huiyan, she still made waves on the internet, saying that Gu Huiyan sent the heartbeat message to the wrong person. Judging from his reaction today, everyone can actually see that he sent the message to the wrong person. This reason is reasonable, and everyone accepts it. Pei Ban takes care of CP fans said there will be no next time. Next time, I will definitely chop it up for Xiaogu. Mother Zhang specifically told Gu Huiyan about this matter, saying that in the future you should try your best, never do anything that would be sorry for Pei Jingshu. Once a Baiyueguang like her is betrayed, the fighting power of her fans will exceed your imagination. Offline, you are just little Karami. This side of the courtyard. Is there anything to eat? Gu Huiyan didn't explain to everyone, and just went into the kitchen. Sister Xylin said that Su Yuntang left food for him at noon, but he didn't come back to eat it. It was all in the refrigerator so that he could eat it hot. Gu Huiyan opened the refrigerator and found the leftovers. He didn't mind it. He took a bowl, made some rice, picked up some leftovers, and threw it into the microwave. Buzzing. The fire raged for 2 or 3 minutes. It was just good enough to eat when it came out. Gu Huiyan mixed it with a spoon and took a big mouthful. There was some cold noodles in the cabinet that he hadn't finished eating at noon. He bought them, but he didn't have time to eat them. Gu Huiyan didn't mind it either, and it was a show-off when he brought it out. Eat slowly, don't be full, there's still dinner. Pei Jingshu helped him pour a glass of warm water, and she felt a little distressed when he saw him showing off like this. It's okay, it's okay. Gu Huiyan's mouth was full of food, and he spoke with slurred speech while refusing. But suddenly, out of the corner of his eye, Gu Huiyan glanced and saw Shang Zuoyan, a woman who didn't know when she had come to him, and she didn't know what she was doing. Gu Huiyan turned around and saw that the woman had found a cup from somewhere and was pouring the unfinished lay-by he had bought into the cup. Cheap swish. What are you doing? Gu Huiyan immediately stared. Oh, just take a sip, just a little bit. Shang Zuoyan giggled. Roll. Gu Huiyan rolled his eyes, picked up the bottle and drank a sip. You. Shang Zuoyan was so angry. If you catch him, he'll be scratched. Everyone couldn't laugh or cry for a while. To be honest, the atmosphere in their small courtyard is really good. As far as the audience is concerned, they don't want Crystal love season to end. What they filmed doesn't feel like a love story, but more like everyday life, which is very comfortable. It's a pity that the program recording deadline is really only a few days away. It is said on the internet that the program team is already preparing for the final hand-holding session location selection. After dinner, just like last night, Gu Huiyan went upstairs to rest early again. However, he did not forget about the heartbeat message tonight, and he was sure that he would not send it to the wrong person. He did not want to make the same mistake as what happened this morning. What do you think Brother Huiyan is doing? After Gu Huiyan went upstairs, Shen Qingqing, the little clipper, snorted in rhythm. I do not know. Everyone shook their heads. Shang Zuoyan said, is there a possibility that he went to move bricks? Puff. Everyone laughed. He was looking at Huiyan, a star artist, and the price for writing a song was over 1 million. He went to move bricks. What was he trying to do? But the crux of the matter is that he really looked like he had been moving bricks in the past 2 days. His body was dirty and sweaty. Most importantly, he was very tan, as if he had been working in the hot sun. So there is no way to refute the matter of moving bricks. I said. The mature sister Xylan crossed her beautiful legs and chuckled. When he goes out again tomorrow, how about we follow him and see where he goes? Well, that's a good idea. Best actor Su Peipiao was in charge of the atmosphere team. Looking at Gu Huiyan like this, it doesn't seem like he has gone far away. He should be nearby. If they follow, they should be able to keep up. They wanted to see what Gu Huiyan, the old man, was doing. He was nowhere to be seen all day long. Stop doing fun things secretly behind their backs. Pei Jingshu sat in the corner and smiled softly. When she went upstairs, she couldn't help but glance in the direction of Gu Huiyan's room, with some worry in her eyes. The next day. Early morning. Gu Huiyan got up very early. I don't know what's going on, but Gu Huiyan, the old guy, always gets up very early recently. It seems that he hasn't slept in since he came back from Time Singer. Zzz. In the kitchen, early in the morning, there was another sizzling sound. At first glance, it looks like something is exploding. Aha! Shen Qingqing, the little clipper, had just come over from next door when she heard the sound of something being fried coming from the kitchen. She went over to take a look. Okay, Gu Huiyan was frying silkworm chrysalis. Puff. The audience also laughed like crazy, and everyone expressed. What you, Mr. Gu, ate in the morning was really strange. Seriously, it was normal a few days ago. What the hell is this today? What the hell are silkworm chrysalis? Who would fry silkworm chrysalises so early in the morning? In fact, if there were no silkworm chrysalis, Gu Huiyan's breakfast would definitely be different today, because he also baked hand cakes in the electric baking pan. Gu Huiyan took the fried golden silkworm chrysalis out of the pot with a slotted spoon, put it on a plate, sprinkled it with salt, and shook it a little. Gu Huiyan picked one up with chopsticks, threw it into his mouth, and chewed it carefully. He nodded repeatedly and gave way to Xylan. Sister Xylan, please try it. Xylan tasted one. Don't tell me, although these bugs look ugly, the smell of frying is like steaming. And high in protein. Ching Ching, would you like to try one? Sister Xylan was also wilted, so she asked even though she knew Shen Ching Ching wouldn't eat. I won't eat it. Shen Ching Ching hid behind the pillar in the kitchen. This made Siren laugh. No, I don't understand. Shen Ching Ching said in a coy voice. Then you just eat ordinary bugs. This silkworm chrysalis can turn into a butterfly. If you just eat it like this, don't you think it's cruel? As soon as these words came out, many people in the comment area resonated. Many of the things humans eat are very cruel, such as eggs, live beads. Just call this silkworm chrysalis. Some people say it's a worm, but this thing is actually a cocoon. Have you ever heard of the phrase become a butterfly? Butterflies hatch out of silkworm chrysalises. It's easy for people to turn into cocoons and turn into butterflies. Now you pick them up, fry them and eat them. Are you so cruel? Shen Qingqing is a girl, and girls usually have a good impression of beautiful insects like butterflies. But when she thinks that the silkworm chrysalises that can turn into butterflies are fried and eaten by Gu Huiyan, her good impression of Gu Huiyan drops a lot. What about this? Gu Huiyan didn't care. Because if he doesn't eat, others will. And this stuff is so delicious, I can't resist it. His moral values are not bad, but he is not above the line in this regard. Facing Shen Qingqing's doubts, Sister Xylin didn't even know how to refute it, because in fact, there was nothing wrong with what Shen Qingqing said. Eating silkworm chrysalises was indeed a bit cruel. If she, a female star, said something wrong on such a topic, she would easily be criticized. On the contrary, it was Gu Huiyan. Our brother Gu is not used to Shen Qingqing and those people at all. Yesterday when he went to the morning market, didn't he buy 2 bags of silkworm chrysalises? Now a bag of small ones exploded. There is 1 big bag left. But Gu Huiyan calmly took out the bag of unexploded silkworm chrysalis from one side, handed it to Shen Qingqing, and said while eating the small silkworm chrysalis, "Then take this bag home and transform it into a butterfly." As soon as these words came out, everyone was stunned at first. Immediately afterwards, puff! Ha ha ha! The whole audience laughed like crazy. Not to mention 11 Lin and Shen Qingqing, some of the program staff couldn't stop laughing, and the barrage even shouted, "Gu Huiyan, how come you are getting more and more handsome? You have a poisonous mouth. Why do you have so many jokes, ha ha ha. You are really the master of anti-hypocrisy. A good man, he just has a big mouth. Gu Huaqiang, rejecting all pretense starts with me. Ah ha ha ha." Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Xuan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 164. Shen Qingqing. Gu Huiyan's words made Shen Qingqing dumbfounded. She never even thought about how Gu Huiyan could explain to her, "Take this bag home and turn it into a butterfly," when she said it was cruel to eat silkworm chrysalises. This is so much more lethal than when she said, "The rabbit is so patient, how can you afford to eat the rabbit?" and Gu Huiyan said, "Spread more cumin." Ft. Cluck. Xylin was smiling so much that she had no choice but to raise her hand to cover her lips. She couldn't help but raise her hand and slap Gu Huiyan a few times. Gu Huiyan was so mean. Only Gu Huiyan could say such a joke, and no one else would have thought of it. At this time, the location of the stairs. Pei Jingshu came down from upstairs. She wore a very simple and elegant white embroidered skirt today. It was still her style of not showing any flesh. Even her shoulders and chest were not visible, but it always gave people a very pure and sexy feeling. "What are you laughing at?" When she went downstairs, she heard Sister Xylin laughing and couldn't help but ask. "I'm telling you." Xylin waved to Pei Jingshu, leaned next to her ear and whispered a few words. "Pook." Then Pei Jingshu couldn't help laughing. Originally she laughed a little, but the more she thought about it, the funnier it became, and she couldn't stop laughing. "Shen Qingqing, t. She just wanted to say, "Are you really polite when you smile like this? Do you care about my feelings?" Gu Huiyan chuckled. Presumably after this time, Shen Qingqing would not even dare to mention the topic of silkworm chrysalis, right? Shen Qingqing belongs to that kind of little person who is a bit pretentious. She always likes to do things with a little rhythm and create hot topics. The day Gu Huiyan fried rice, she gathered around him and wanted to use him as a backdrop. Today, She didn't have enough memory to get on the topic. You, brother Gu, must be the one who got him. Do you want? Gu Huiyan pointed at the oil pan and said to Shen Qingqing. If you don't want it, I'll explode. Shen Qingqing. She was speechless for a moment and didn't know how to answer Gu Huiyan. If you want, why don't you ride a horse and take it home to transform into a butterfly? The funny thing is, without waiting for her reply, Gu Huiyan opened the big bag of silkworm chrysalis and poured it directly into the oil pan in front of Shen Qingqing. So you never thought of asking for my opinion at all, right? Shen Qingqing got angry and gritted her teeth and said, Gu Huiyan clearly had no intention of taking it home as a butterfly for her. At this moment, Gu Huiyan didn't throw away all the silkworm chrysalises in the bag. As soon as Shen Qingqing said this, he immediately put them away, shook the rest of the bag at Shen Qingqing and said, Then take these home for you. Get out. No more. The little clip got angry, his face turned red with anger, he stamped his feet, snorted and ran away. Ha ha ha. The audience was all amused, and even Shen Qingqing was amused, which showed how much Gu Huiyan had gone too far this time. A group of little black guys appeared in the comment area and said that Gu Huiyan went too far, but unfortunately it didn't become a big deal. A few moments. When Gu Huiyan finished frying the silkworm chrysalises, the movie stars Su and Zhang Shuo were coming back from morning practice, and Shang Zuoyan was also coming back from dancing practice. Today, Shang Zuoyan's hairstyle is two beautiful little juju, with braids on the top of her head, which makes her whole head look very delicate. Wearing her signature pink striped loose sports trousers with a tight short sleeve shirt, her hot figure is clearly visible, and her one-shaped belly button is also rarely exposed for ventilation. Big Bear and Bear 2 were almost starved for food. They said that we also wanted to get some air. Oh, these silkworm chrysalises are delicious. Shang Zuoyan likes these silkworm chrysalis very much. The small ones are very tasty, not to mention the big ones. Unfortunately, this stuff was too high in protein and calories. After only a few bites, her assistant sternly stopped her and told her not to eat it. At this time, the camera showed Gu Huiyan. But he saw Gu Huiyan holding a baked hand cake with a crispy skin, and then using a spoon, he filled a large spoonful of small silkworm chrysalises, arranged them vertically in a row, and evenly placed them on the hand cake. Then he took 2 volcanic stone grilled sausages that he bought earlier from the plate on the side and placed them vertically on top of the silkworm chrysalis. Lay it out, such a roll. Then wrap it in a paper bag given when the buyer grabs the cake, pick it up, and open your mouth to nibble. Gu Huiyan nodded repeatedly to express his praise. I go. The barrage was dumbfounded, and the audience expressed. Gu Huiyan, you know how to eat? To eat this piece, it depends on you, Gu Lulu. Shang Zuoyan next door is already crying. I want to eat too. Shang Zuoyan is really going to cry with greed, Gu Huiyan is really good at eating, everyone would want to take this bite. Speaking of which, it seems that his volcanic stone grilled sausage was brought back from the rookie station by Sister Xylan when he left last time. If he hadn't eaten it this morning, others would have forgotten it. Gu Huiyan didn't have any objections and let her eat, but her assistant wouldn't let her eat. Sister Shang exploded at that time. Is it okay to let her watch others eat? So she ignored the assistant's objections, grabbed a piece of cake, and rolled one up like Gu Huiyan's eating method. Don't tell me, the taste after one bite was simply amazing. You go back and weigh yourself. You've gone too far these past 2 days, the assistant couldn't help but remind him. Shang Zuoyan only hesitated for a second, and then went back to show off the cake. Don't talk to her about this while eating, she won't listen to the bastard chanting sutras. After dinner, Shang Zuoyan retired on the spot. Standing on the electronic scale and looking at the value displayed on the monitor, Shang Zuoyan pouted her mouth and looked unhappy. 2 or 3 days after Gu Huiyan came back, she gained 2 or 3 pounds. What a coincidence, Gu Huiyan just came over. After eating the hand cake, he took out a piece of ice cream from nowhere. Gu Huiyan bought a lot of ice cream 2 days ago and stuffed it in the refrigerator. He just wanted to show off one piece. Shang Zhuo and I also secretly show off, it would be weird if I am not fat. At this time, Gu Huiyan turned his head to take a look, then turned to look at Shang Zhuoyan. He grinned and said, "Are you fat?" God knows how much that smile of his in Shang Zhuoyan's eyes deserves a beating. Black lines appeared on Shang Zhuoyan's forehead, the corners of her mouth twitched wildly, and she couldn't help but say, "Don't act like you're not fat. If you eat like this all day long, you'll definitely gain more weight than me." From the time he came to Crystal Love season to now, Gu Huiyan is completely on the same level as a normal celebrity artist. This kid has no control over his weight at all. People said they should give up coke and fats, but Gu Huiyan didn't give up on anything. He ate whatever he had, and if he didn't have it, he had to find ways to eat in different ways. Shang Zhuoyan didn't believe that he wasn't fat. Look. Now this kid is still chewing on a piece of ice cream. "I remember I'm not fat," Gu Huiyan replied. "Then you have the ability to step on the scale," Shang Zhuoyan refused. She had seen Gu Huiyan put on the scale before and vaguely remembered his weight, which was probably more than 130 kilograms and less than 140 kilograms. It was quite normal for his 1.8-meter tall man to have some muscles on his body. "Come on." Gu Huiyan held the ice cream in his mouth and stood on the electronic scale without hesitation. The resulting weight, much beyond Shang Zhuoyan's expectation. Not only was he not fat at all, but he also lost 2 or 3 pounds. "Why are you still losing weight?" Taking a bite of the ice cream, Gu Huiyan was also happy. He said that since being bound to the system, he felt that his body was getting healthier and healthier. He ate deliciously and was not tired from doing anything. He was very energetic and felt like he could kill a cow. Can chew a cow. So although this system does not have the option of cultivating immortals and living 100 years, it seems to be subtly changing his body. Looking in the mirror these past 2 days, Gu Huiyan felt that he had muscles on his body. Ah! Shang Zhuoyan is about to collapse. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Gu Huiyan ate haze all day long. He didn't know why he came back last night and showed off with a big bowl of rice. He also ate a lot in the evening. He didn't have any control this morning, so why wasn't he fat? Explain. Shang Zhuoyan grabbed Gu Huiyan's collar and shouted. "Did you vomit secretly behind my back after eating? Or did you do some shameful exercise behind my back after eating?" Ah! Gu Huiyan was confused. The two of them made a noise. Shang Zhuoyan returned to the room angrily. He. Sister Xylin walked over with a smile and whispered. "I think the fact that he hasn't gained weight may have something to do with what he did in the past 2 days. These words awakened Shang Zhuoyan. Although Gu Huiyan didn't know what he was doing these past 2 days, he came back every night looking extremely tired and sweating profusely. He eats a lot, but if he does a lot, they actually complement each other. He must have secretly got involved behind my back." Shang Zhuoyan pursed her lips and said. "I want to see what he did." She was originally curious about what he was doing, but now Shang Zhuoyan was more determined to take a look. It was probably discussed last night, so after breakfast, everyone tacitly agreed to play in the small courtyard. No one suggested going out, and no one went out. They were all waiting for Gu Huiyan. As expected. Not long after the meal, Gu Huiyan washed the pots and dishes, then went upstairs to change his shoes and went out quietly. Maybe he knew that he couldn't hide it anymore, so the program team actually gave him the camera, and the comments at that time were so happy. "Why does this kid look like a thief? If you don't know, you still think he's going to steal something." Gu Huiyan, what I stole was Pei Jingshu's heart. My life is good but my life is not good. Damn it. If you are a Buddha or an immortal, I will give you a knife. Hurry up. What's funny is that when Gu Huiyan went out, the guests in the courtyard followed him as if they were thieves. It was said that today, in order to catch Gu Huiyan's current, these celebrities rarely wore sun protection, so Zhang Shuo asked his assistant for a sun protection clothing. After leaving the door, Gu Huiyan became more carefree. He no longer walked on tiptoe, and walked forward with his arms stretched out, walking as if he didn't recognize his relatives. On the other hand, Xilin, Pei Jingshu and the others, in order not to let Gu Huiyan find out, walked very cautiously. They followed Gu Huiyan all the way out of the alley, walked along a main road in the village for a while, then turned into a small alley that was a little off the beaten path, then turned left again, then right. Yongzi village is not big, but there are actually quite a lot of alleys. Generally, the roads in the village are like this, always so crooked. Fortunately, Shang Zuoyan walked quickly, walked in front, and bit tight, otherwise they might have lost track of Gu Huiyan. But the more I continue to follow Gu Huiyan, the more they wonder. What the hell is this kid doing? Movie Emperor Su scratched his head and asked strangely. Speaking of which, Gu Huiyan went out so secretly and took so many twists and turns that it looked like he had done something bad. Are we sure we want to continue? The little clip Shen Qing was very artificial in the show effect and said. What if Brother Huiyan does something shameful? We are doing a live broadcast. If we capture something that cannot be broadcast, wouldn't it be better to just close the live broadcast room? Crystal Love Season is a live broadcast program that relies entirely on live broadcasts to make money. It would be a big deal to close the live broadcast room, so just stop playing. Ah ha ha. The audience went crazy with joy and couldn't help but express. You were told that this kid really seemed like he was going to do something like that. Last year, I went to a village in the city with my friends and we went through the same detours. The labor and management were confused. Expand and tell me about my brother. My friend lives in a village in the city. I went to his house to play. What do you think? Ryatomo Himuro. Get out. Ah ha ha ha. What are you thinking? Xilin was amused. In fact, she had also noticed in the past 2 days that many staff members of the program team may not know where Gu Huiyan went, but the chief director Zhang Ma and the PD teachers definitely knew. If Gu Huiyan really did something shameful, the program team would definitely not let them follow him. However, Gu Huiyan's journey was so winding, and it actually seemed like he was going to do something bad. Thinking of this, Xilin couldn't help but glance at Pei Jingshu and said with a smile. Don't worry, I'm definitely not doing anything bad. Pei Jingshu. Why did Siren say this to her? Puff. Ha ha ha. The audience laughed like crazy. It is worth mentioning that because they were following so secretly, Xilin's words gave everyone a very strange sense of déjà vu. So someone Chiu said in the comment area. Why do you feel like they are just trying to catch an adulterer? As soon as these words came out, a group of people in the comment area laughed again. The barrage is flowing. Don't tell me, they look alike. Gulalu is stealing food outside, and Sister Pei is taking her family to catch him. Ah ha ha ha, isn't that why we can relate to each other? Let's just say that the current scene is a bit like what netizens said. The key to the problem is that Pei Jingshu also felt a bit like it. She smiled bitterly and didn't know what to say. It is worth mentioning that Shang Zuoyan is very motivated. People who don't know it still wonder if she is really going to catch an adulterer. Everyone continued to follow Gu Huiyan. Although they were not following closely and the road was winding, they still managed to keep up. After going around a winding alley, I saw Gu Huiyan stopped at the door of a house, stood at the door and shouted a few times. After a while, 2 brothers, One older and one younger, came out of the door. They were the Ayao and Awan they had met before. It's July, it's summer vacation, and little Awan doesn't need to go to school. This kid is skinny, but he looks lively, and he is always very enthusiastic when he sees Gu Huiyan. From so far away, no one heard what Gu Huiyan shouted, but they could clearly hear little Awan shouting, "Brother Xiao Gu." Because of reverse war, Gu Huiyan has become his god. Gu Huiyan picked up little Awan, spun him around, put him down, and then walked toward the fields while chatting with Awan. It is worth mentioning that Ayao also carried a bamboo basket for Gu Huiyan. Gu Huiyan carried it on his back, and together with the two brothers, those who didn't know it thought that he was a villager in the village. Are they going to enter the fields? Xilan frowned, saying that the weather today is quite good. It rained last night, and this morning it was a very nice sunny day. However, Yunnan in June and July has entered the rainy season. Usually it does not rain all day long, but it rains several times a day. It rains often. Xilan looked up at the sky and saw a dark cloud drifting over in the distance. If it rained, it won't be good if it rains. Looking at it like this, he seems to be helping with the farm work, Su Yuntang said. Everyone nodded. In fact, seeing this, almost everyone could tell that Gu Huiyan was helping Ayao and Awan's family with farm work. This also makes sense why he is exhausted and sweating every day and is very embarrassed. There is mud on his shoes and he is getting darker and darker from the sun. It's just that we don't know exactly what kind of farm work we do. No one knew why he wanted to help Ayao Awan's family with farm work. Someone in the barrage was saying, "No, I think Gu Huiyan is a bit unprofessional. Indeed, I took the program team's announcement fee and worked for the villagers behind the back of the program team and guests. What he did was fine, but it just felt like it wasn't right for an artist." Some people in the comment area started to take the lead, but they were not blindly dissatisfied. Mainly on this matter, there was indeed something wrong with what Gu Huiyan did. You said that you, an artist, took the announcement fee from someone else's program team and came here just to record the show. You are usually down to earth, and it doesn't matter what you do to make people angry. After all, you are in front of the camera, and you are contributing to the program's effect. But your kid went to do farm work for the local villagers for several days in a row, and disappeared from the scene for several days in a row without explanation. Don't you think it's a bit excessive? Did the program team give you money to do farm work for the villagers? What a joke. Especially since there are only a few days left in the recording of this program, why don't you scold Huiyan for not focusing on recording and insisting on doing other things? At this moment, not to mention the audience, even the best actors Su, Zhongshuo and others frowned, feeling that Gu Huiyan was doing something wrong. So recording a program with them is really not as good as doing farm work for the villagers. Are they so disliked by Gu Huiyan? All in all, at this moment, many people probably don't understand Gu Huiyan. Even Pei Jingshu and Shang Zuoyan felt that this was a bit inappropriate. They didn't blame Gu Huiyan for anything, they just felt that it was not good for him to do this and were worried about him. Well, it seems that he also understands what everyone is thinking. The mature sister Xilan shook her head and smiled bitterly, sighed, and said, "Follow us and take a look. What if, participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth?" Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 165. Everyone followed Gu Huiyan all the way to the fields. In fact, this season is also the season for planting rice, so people on the road will ask whether Gu Huiyan is going to plant rice for Ayao Awan's family. It was a pity that as they walked and passed the rice fields, they didn't see Gu Huiyan and the others stop. Keep walking and you will almost reach the mountains. Only then did they see two brothers, Gu Huiyan and Ayao Awan, stopping in front of a plum field. It rained last night. In fact, The farmland was a bit muddy and the road was not easy to walk on. Shen Qingqing wore a pair of white shoes. She forced Lai Lai many times on the road and kept saying that her clothes were stained with mud. So dirty. Let's just say, Pei Jingshu also wore a white skirt. Why didn't they say anything? It is worth mentioning that today's Shangzuoyan is also rare and does not feel dirty, but follows along all the way. It's actually not too early at this point. Farmers usually go to the fields very early. When they come over, they can see people working in some rice fields. It's just that the plum field is here, maybe because the location is relatively remote. There is not much land nearby and they are all planted with trees, so I didn't see many people. Are they the only three picking plums? Now everyone could see that Gu Huiyan and the two brothers Ayao and Awan were here to pick plums. The plum rain season in June and July is when the plums are ripe. These green plums are sour and are generally not eaten directly. They are mostly used to make wine. If the quality is good, there is no need to worry about sales, and it is also an annual income for farmers. But what makes them a little strange is that the boss has a plum forest, and only two brothers, Gu Huiyan and Ayao Awan, pick it. It is said that this plum field is really big. Shangzuoyan and the others have no idea about the acre of farmland, but from their position, they can't see the end of the plum field. When it comes to picking, they think it would take 7 or 8 people to work for 4 or 5 days to finish it. Gu Huiyan and Ayao are still young and strong. Awan is only in the 3rd or 4th grade of elementary school. He may not be able to reach the plums on some tall trees. So to put it bluntly, it's actually just 2 people doing it. At this moment, some people suddenly seem to realize something, and the voices in the comment area saying that Gu Huiyan was disrespectful gradually became quieter. Grandma. Following them as they walked further in, everyone heard Ayao and Awan calling Anai. From a distance, they saw an old lady with a stooped figure and grey hair wearing local ethnic costumes chatting with them in the plum forest. The old lady looks very young at first glance, with a head full of white hair, an exaggerated stoop, and a very thin figure, but she has a kind face and a kind smile. Look at this, the old lady came for a while, and the bamboo basket in front of her was filled with half a basket of green plums. Seeing this scene, some people suddenly couldn't bear it. Generally, old ladies of this age in the city have to take care of themselves. They either see their grandchildren or wander around in the park. There is nowhere to work in the fields. For a moment, everyone was silent. Gu Huiyan and Ayao had already started working. The two of them moved very quickly. They had probably picked a lot of the front piece in the past 2 days. They only started picking when they walked inside. Gu Huiyan saw that he was here to work. There was no nonsense. He was wearing white work gloves and moved very quickly. In a short time, he picked half of the basket of plums. The blazing ultraviolet rays hit him through the gaps in the leaves, and soon he was sweating on his forehead. Are we going there? Pei Jingshu couldn't bear to see the scene and couldn't help but ask. She wanted to help. This. Xylin, Su Yuntang, and others looked at each other. They followed Gu Huiyan secretly. Gu Huiyan must have his own reasons for not telling them. It was not right for them to follow him secretly. Wouldn't it be a bit? They don't really want to expose it. So they decided to go back first and wait until Gu Huiyan came back in the evening before they could ask around the corner. Who would have thought that Shen Qingqing, a stubborn person, always disliked the mud on her white shoes. When she was looking for a tissue to wipe them, she accidentally lost her balance. Ah! With a cry of surprise, she fell down in the plum field. Ah! It's so dirty. Her exclamations echoed for miles around. Keep your voice down. Shangzuoyan quickly scolded her to shut up, but unfortunately. Why are you here? Gu Huiyan still heard the sound and came over. Then. Gu Huiyan stood opposite them carrying a bamboo basket. This kid is actually quite handsome, but unfortunately he has been a bit tanned in the past 2 days, and he was sweating from picking plums just now, so he looks like a child from the village. The rustic look makes people want to laugh. For a moment, everyone looked at each other, some not knowing how to answer. It's hard to tell, are they following Gu Huiyan? Us. That is to say, Sister Xylan reacted quickly and said. We just happened to be out for a walk, and we just happened to come here. With this random excuse, my sister didn't give him a chance to doubt, so she asked directly. What are you doing here? Don't say it, sister is sister. Gu Huiyan was stopped in 2 words. I am. Gu Huiyan came over when he heard the sound just now. He didn't think much about it. After seeing everyone, he was so surprised that he forgot how to explain this problem. At this time, Gu Huiyan hesitated and felt a little embarrassed. You boy. If you don't participate in the recording all day long, why don't you just do farm work here? Shang Xuan unceremoniously stepped forward and grabbed Gu Huiyan's ears. This woman was indeed a bit rough on her. Pei Jingsha frowned slightly. Let go first. If it weren't for the dirt here, Gu Huiyan would have been kicked away by Shang Xuan. So what's going on? Siren asked. This. Gu Huiyan hesitated, seeing everyone looking at him. Well. He couldn't help but sigh. Now that everyone had discovered it, there was no need for him to hide it, so he just told everyone. This plum forest was planted by Ayao Awan's family. When they were planting in the past, there were many people in the family who could work. Their parents were both at home, and their grandfather had not passed away yet, so it was not difficult to harvest plums in this season. It's not a difficult task. Later, my grandfather left, my parents went out to work in order to make a living, and my grandma gradually got older. The annual harvest of this plum grove became a problem. To be honest, these plums are not very valuable. Ayao's parents will definitely make more money if they work outside for a few days than if they come back to collect plums. The trip back will cost a lot, and if they don't make enough money, they will suffer a lot. Therefore, when it comes to harvesting plums, we either don't collect them or ask relatives at home to help. But during the season, relatives at home are busy with work in their own fields. Even if they help, they will only come to help after finishing their own things. Grandma couldn't bear the plums to rot in the ground, so most of the time Ayao and Grandma came over to pick some. When Gu Huiyan heard about this, it was just the morning he came back. He was out to throw away garbage. When the 2 brothers he met knew about this, they felt a little unbearable. I thought that they had enough time to record anyway, and he wouldn't be able to stay here for many days. The recording was going to end soon, so I thought that I could come over and help a little during these few days. For about the past 2 days, he would run here whenever he had nothing to do. At the same time, in order to avoid being accused of not doing his job properly, whenever he was in the courtyard, he would usually do as much work as possible. Xiang Pai Piao milk tea, Sprite, silkworm chrysalis, that's pretty much it. Regarding this matter, he also told Zhang Ma that he would come continuously only with Zhang Ma's consent. And after listening to Gu Huiyan's words, everyone was silent in unison. Just now, some people said that Gu Huiyan was not dedicated and did not do his job properly, but so suddenly, all those voices disappeared. Gu Huiyan in the camera doesn't look very delicate. He has been picking plums for the past 2 days, so his skin is a little tanned, and there is sweat on his forehead. Because he went out to work secretly without telling everyone and was discovered by everyone, his expression still looks like it's like doing something wrong. It's a bit distressing. What he did was so admirable. To be honest, at this moment, many of the guests and the audience admired Gu Huiyan. Farm work is difficult to do, the roads in the fields are difficult to walk, the wind and sun are blowing, and there are mosquito bites during the season. Most people may not be able to do it at home, let alone go out to help others. In particular, Gu Huiyan is also a hot and popular artist. Perhaps his traffic, popularity are not as high as those of Pei Jingshu and Zhang Shuo, but he is still somewhat famous. There are really not many artists like him who are not afraid of getting dirty or tired to help local villagers with farm work. This moment, everyone looked at Gu Huiyan with a somewhat complicated look. I still remember that Gu Huiyan went to Shaxi ancient town before. On the day he came back to fry skewers, two dear people tourists recognized him. They were not sure it was him, and they said that those on Gu Huiyan's internet were all characters. In fact, even now, many people will be like the two girls, saying that Gu Huiyan has always been setting up characters, doing one thing before the show and another behind the scenes. And perhaps, it wasn't until this moment that everyone truly believed that Gu Huiyan was no longer a character. Have you ever seen any star artist who speculates on his character, who will go to the farmland to help work for several days in a row, until he is completely tanned and looks embarrassed, without telling everyone else? Have you ever seen any star artist who is really willing to work hard to help insignificant people? And it is at this moment. Gu Huiyan's down-to-earth impression is truly deeply rooted in people's hearts. It was also at this moment that a system prompt came to Gu Huiyan's mind. Ding, the host has successfully grounded himself and gained exposure, and the points are at 91x69. Big points critical hit. One shot into the soul. Gu Huiyan was a little confused. By the way, I usually give out 5 shots and 3 shots. Today, I got 69 shots. This suddenly refreshed the upper limit of Gu Huiyan's knowledge of system points. So scary. I'm sorry. It was at this time. In the forest, the two brothers Ayao and Awan followed their grandma, and the grandfather and grandson came over. The kind old lady said apologetically. Did it delay your recording of the show? Xiaogu, please go back quickly. It doesn't matter to us. We can't make much money. This scene made everyone feel even more sad. It's okay, it's okay. Xylin waved her hand and smiled softly. Grandma, actually we are here to help. As soon as she said this, everyone was stunned. Especially Zhang Shuo, Shen Qingqing, and Su Yuntang. They never thought of coming to help. In order to pursue Gu Huiyan without revealing their secrets or being discovered by him, they didn't even wear sunscreen today. If they really didn't go back and just came here to help, then they couldn't get a tan at the end of the day. The actor Su is not afraid of getting tanned, and he understands Xylin and is more willing to help. But the key problem is that the clothes he is wearing today are not suitable for work. How about waiting for him to change clothes? The three of them were confused at the time. But the problem is, when Xylin said this, they were immediately stopped. Are they embarrassed to leave now? The kind-hearted grandma looked at these glamorously dressed celebrities and didn't know how to answer for a while. Even Gu Huiyan couldn't help but be stunned for a moment and looked at Xylin and everyone. In front of the camera, Sister Pei Jingshu directly raised her hands to straighten up her long black hair, and tied it into a high ponytail with a hair tie. It was very sassy. She walked up to Gu Huiyan without any pretense and asked, "Do you have any more gloves?" Perhaps it was Xylin who offered to help, but it was Pei Jingshu who was the first to take action. It's quite impressive that a girl like her, who is weak, can take action immediately. It's not without reason that Pei Jingshu has such a good reputation after so many years since her debut. Oh, yes. Gu Huiyan asked Ayao to help get gloves. Occasionally, uncles from the village would come to help, so they also had some gloves. Of course, there are definitely not enough people. At this time, Shen Qingqing, Zhang Shuo and Best Actor Su breathed a sigh of relief, but before they could tell them to go back and change clothes and put on sunscreen, they were coming right away. The program staff didn't know where to get it from. A lot of gloves. And several bamboo baskets. Explain. We prepared it for everyone. Several people at that time. He was immediately silenced. Why bring something like this? Ahaha. The audience laughed like crazy. Well, now, the three of them can't go back at all. What else can I do? Do it. While laughing, everyone put on gloves and went to help. All said and done, most of these stars actually have quite upright views. For example, the actor Sue, although he didn't change his clothes, he was quite efficient at work and never held anyone back. Zhang Shuo and Shen Qingqing, on the other hand, are a bit crotch stretching. It's not that Zhang Shuo doesn't want to do it, the main reason is that this buddy's idol has too much burden. In the crystal courtyard, he often hides and plays guitar upstairs while cooking, let alone now. Shen Qingqing, a little girl, can't even walk 2 steps without saying that her shoes are dirty and her clothes are dirty. At this time, the camera of the program will show Pei Jingshu, because there is already a little sweat on Sister Pei's forehead as she is concentrating on her work, and her gloves are a little dirty. When she wipes the sweat from her face with her gloved hands, there was a bit of dust left on Zhang Beijing's pretty face. It seems very conspicuous. Seeing this, Gu Huiyan decisively brought a tissue. Do not move. After telling Pei Jingshu not to move, he carefully wiped Pei Jingshu's face with a tissue. Pei Jingshu was slightly stunned, staring at Gu Huiyan, who was so serious with a pair of water-like eyes, and couldn't help but feel a little deer-like. Because he was working and the weather was not cool, Gu Huiyan's body seemed very hot. He was standing in front of Pei Jingshu like a big furnace, and the smell of male hormones hit his face directly. Pei Jingshu couldn't help but blush. Oh! The audience also said it was so sweet, and the barrage was full of candy. Shang Zuoyan. Aim. Shang Zuoyan, who was watching from the sidelines, was extremely upset. Having said that, Shang Zuoyan is actually not pretentious. Her bamboo basket contains the most plums besides Gu Huiyan. It is worth mentioning that she received several bites on her arms. Here. Gu Huiyan brought her a bottle of toilet water he had brought. Boss smell, I don't need this. Shang Zuoyan pouted her lips stubbornly, but in fact she had secretly used it one night before. Whatever. Gu Huiyan grinned. In fact, it was more lively than when he picked it with everyone here. Hey, Gu Huiyan. Shang Zuoyan, a foodie, asked while picking and returning. Are these plums delicious? Gu Huiyan subconsciously wanted to say it was not delicious, but seeing Shang Zuoyan's silly look he wanted to tease her for no reason, so he smiled and said. You'll know after you taste it? Looking at Gu Huiyan like that, Shang Zuoyan didn't dare to eat. She said with a suspicious look. It definitely doesn't taste good. I can tell by looking at you like that. Ah! Gu Huiyan sneered, picked up a plum, rubbed it on his body, and took a bite. Chewing in his mouth, he kept his expression unchanged and nodded repeatedly. It's so delicious, why don't you eat it? Well. Seeing that he had eaten everything, Shang Zuoyan couldn't help but feel a little shaken, and thought about it. He opened his mouth and took a bite. This bite doesn't matter. Ah! Hiss, bah, bah, bah. It's so sour. Shang Zuoyan burst into tears. Bah, bah, bah. Gu Huiyan also ran away and vomited at the same time that Shang Zuoyan was biting the plum. Ahaha. Although it was sour, Gu Huiyan seemed very happy after pranking Shang Zuoyan. Gu Huiyan. You did it on purpose. Shang Zuoyan was so angry that she threw down the bamboo basket and chased him. Haha. The audience laughed like crazy. Let's just say that Gu Huiyan, this old man, is evil enough but cruel enough. In order for Shang Zuoyan to take a bite, MD actually took a bite too. Stop. I can kill you. In the plum forest, Shang Zuoyan's roar could be heard everywhere. The guests couldn't help but smile bitterly. The place where these two living treasures were present was always filled with all kinds of laughter. It's just that Pei Jingsha doesn't always like to see them fooling around so closely. Moreover, there is not much time left like this. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 166. Time passes. Everyone was picking and it was almost noon. I'll go make some lunch for everyone. Ayao's grandma is very enthusiastic. Seeing that everyone comes to help, she must not ignore the meal at noon. No, let me go, grandma. Gu Huiyan shouted, and before grandma could refuse, he dropped his things and ran back. I'll go with you. Siren flipped up her hair and followed. After taking the show cruise tricycle, the two of them quickly returned to the crystal courtyard. To be honest, Xylan felt inexplicably cool on the way back. She was really like a family working in the fields, and the young couple went back to make lunch for everyone. Especially, she was sitting in the front seat of the tricycle with Gu Huiyan. Gu Huiyan moved quickly, returned to the small courtyard, found some potatoes, eggplants, tomatoes, beans, onions, ginger, garlic, etc., and chopped them up. Soaked in vermicelli and a few pieces of good pork belly, Xylan helped him cut into large slices of meat. Gu Huiyan heated up the oil in a pot, added the meat slices and stir-fried. After frying, he added the ingredients and vegetables and stir-fried. Then he poured in water, added vermicelli, and stewed. Gu Huiyan called this pot, stewed indiscriminately. Big pot of rice. Time is short and Gu Huiyan cannot make a lot of delicious food. The stew is large and filling and easy to cook, so naturally he makes this. It's just this one pot. It may not look as good as the fine delicacies made by the famous actor Su, but its taste is definitely the same. This kind of big pot stew, you just throw in a shoe sole board and it will be stewed for you until it is soft, rotten, salty, and fragrant. Call. After being busy all morning, Xylan finally breathed a sigh of relief and found the sponsor's milk from the freezer, handed one to Gu Huiyan, opened one herself, and took a few sips. By the way, my sister has really worked hard all morning. The weather is hot, her face is flushed, and her makeup is a bit stained. It's rare to see the red carpet goddess Xylan in such a state of embarrassment, but I don't know why, but this kind of Xylan makes everyone feel closer to her. Because Xylan is doing farm work, she is like this. Similarly, although she was very tired and knew that she was in a sorry state, for some reason, Xylan was also quite happy. It feels like I have been out playing all day long, but I haven't felt as comfortable as working in the fields until I was exhausted and sweating. What is this wave called? Pain and happiness. Sitting on a small stool in the kitchen, Xylan drank iced milk, gently smelled the smell of firewood in the kitchen, and looked at Gu Huiyan who was standing over there, playing with the food in the big iron pot. She loved such pyrotechnic scenes. She thinks this is called life. Why didn't you ask Ayao's grandma to go back and cook? At this time, Xylan couldn't help but become curious about this matter, feeling that Gu Huiyan ran back to cook without giving the grandma a chance to refuse. If Xylan hadn't followed quickly, she wouldn't have been able to keep up with him. Gu Huiyan held a big iron spoon in his hand, turned over the vegetables, tasted the soup, threw in some salt and sugar, and explained casually. There are so many of us, and we are all outsiders. If we let grandma go back to do it, we will have to spend more money to do something good. The plums are not valuable, and you can't make much money if you pick them all. What we pick in one day may not be enough for a meal. As soon as these words came out, Siren couldn't help but fell silent. It seemed like she hadn't even thought of this. Indeed, It seems that the grandma is also a real person. There are so many of them there, and they are all celebrities and entertainers. If they come to help, they must not be treated too badly. I'm afraid that if they help me for a day, they won't be able to pay for a meal. Relatively speaking, they don't care about the meal money. The ingredients in the crystal courtyard are all provided by the program team, and it doesn't cost them anything to make simple meals when they come back. Why do you want grandma to go back to work? Xylan really didn't expect that this younger brother is quite comprehensive. In this matter, she really looked at Gu Huiyan with admiration. Even the audience couldn't help but praise Gu Huiyan. My brother is still mature. He feels quite stable when doing things. Program team, just leave the co-writing here to gather our wool. You must be allergic to romance when you're riding a horse upstairs. Ding, the host has successfully grounded himself and gained exposure, and the points are at 91x5. System points are credited to your account. In fact, things like this happened not only to Gu Huiyan and the others, but also to many things. Gu Huiyan once heard his mother say something when he was at home, that is, a relative's house was moving. He originally wanted to find a moving company, but after thinking about it, moving companies cost money and are expensive. So I found a few friends to help me out when I had nothing to do. But when friends come to help, you are not allowed to treat them to a meal. Why don't you get some wine and some food? Then eat one meal at noon and one meal in the evening. The two meals combined are more expensive than hiring a moving company. The key is that it's inefficient. If you drink too much at noon, you will lose 2 or 3 hours of sleep, and you may not be able to finish the move in one day. The gain outweighs the loss. There are also those who don't have a car at home, and a family member is sick, and they ask relatives and friends to drive them to the hospital. Instead of paying for a meal when they come back, it is better to take a taxi to the hospital directly. The price of food nowadays is really not cheap. Especially when you talk about Gu Huiyan and the others' situation, the plums themselves are not worth much. Although they have many people, they certainly don't do as much as ordinary farmers. Especially people like Zhang Shuo and Shen Qingqing, who may not pick many in a day. But they also have 2 mouths, and they can't ignore other people's food. I am afraid that at the end of the day, the money earned from picking plums will not be enough for their meals. Because Gu Huiyan had personal experience with these things, he knew and understood them all, so he compared his feelings and helped them do it. But Xylan and the others probably have no idea about these, and they can't think about it in so many details. To put it bluntly, Gu Huiyan's original intention was to help the Ayao family who was in a bit of trouble, but the original intention of the celebrities might. It was just like catching a traitor and helping Gu Huiyan come across this incident. Don't blame anyone, the original intention is different, so naturally the thoughts are different. A few moments. Gu Huiyan finished the big pot of stew, steamed a pot of rice, took the pots and bowls with him, and rode his electric bike to the fields again. It was noon, and the sun was very strong. It was probably because of the good weather that the rain that Xylan was worried about in the morning did not fall, but the clouds drifted away. Wow! Shang Xueyan's mouth started to water when she saw Gu Huiyan stewing a large pot of sticky and mushy stew. Maybe they spent the whole morning picking plums here. The actor Su and the others were also quite hungry, so they stopped being pretentious. They all made a bowl of rice, covered it and simmered it for a crazy meal. It is worth mentioning that when the camera was shown to Zhang Shuo, PD Zhang stuffed a piece of fatty pork belly into his mouth and ate it with relish. Facts have proved that when people are tired, they will not be so pretentious. They should eat and drink when they should. If you have anything to do, wait until you are full. Wow! Why does this meal taste so delicious? Shang Xueyan sat on a small horse and said while showing off. I feel like I have never had such delicious food in my whole life. Gu Huiyan, how do you make it? Can you teach me? Forget it. Gu Huiyan grinned. I'm afraid you'll blow up the kitchen. Ha ha ha. Everyone laughed. In fact, the others also had a feeling as to why today's lunch was so fragrant and delicious. As for the reason, in fact, they know it in their hearts. Not only because Gu Huiyan cooked this blind and random stew really well, and the bite itself was fragrant, but also because they had been working all morning, and they were so tired that they were sweating profusely and hungry. The food was the best. It's just possible that they rarely have such a workload, so they rarely feel this way. At this moment, some people suddenly understood how Gu Huiyan felt when he came back in the evening yesterday to eat leftovers and eat a lot of food. At that time, even if it was leftover food, he must have enjoyed it, right? At this time, the cameras showed Gu Huiyan. This old man's posture was still very tasteless. His mouth was like a juicer. He wanted to crush everything he threw into it into pieces. But I don't know why, from this moment on, the eyes of both the audience and the guests looking at Gu Huiyan began to become much softer. He is a really honest and kind person. It's not like there are no funny things happening while eating. For example, Shang Zuoyan showed off a piece of pork belly that was very evenly fat and thin in her bowl and showed it to others, but Gu Huiyan raised his hand and grabbed it and stuffed it into his mouth. Gu Huiyan. Shang Zuoyan exploded on the spot and asked Gu Huiyan to pay for her life with the pork belly. The two chase and fight, always having fun. In the corner where no one noticed, Pei Jingshu quietly put down her finished bowl, then stood up and left the team. Walking all the way into the plum forest, she reached a cliff-like location. The scenery there is excellent. The plum forest is located halfway up the mountain. From Pei Jingshu's position, you can see a lot of mountains, clouds, and blue sky. There was a stone nearby, which was probably quite clean because people often came to sit on it. Pei Jingshu gathered up her skirt and sat down. Whoa! The wind is coming. Pei Jingshu raised her hand and took off the hair tie that tied her hair. She shook her head, and her long black hair was scattered casually. When the wind blew up, her skirt also blew up. Call. Pei Jingshu breathed a sigh of relief. She liked to enjoy the scenery quietly like this, which would calm her mind. But once your mind calms down, you will think of many things. It was quite lively just now. Everyone was very happy together, and she would also think of the scene when Gu Huiyan helped her wipe the dust on her face during the day. But it seems like the show is almost over, right? Are they about to separate? Especially with Gu Huiyan, are we going to separate soon? Thinking of these, she always felt a little melancholy. As for Gu Huiyan, he should still be chasing and fighting with Shang Zuoyan right now, right? It was helpless to say that Pei Jingshu always felt that she could not figure out Gu Huiyan. She felt that he was also a bit of a central air conditioner. Why did he always chase and fight with Shang Zuoyan when he was obviously closely bound to her CP? Was she jealous because she didn't eat enough to make it obvious? Should she show it off? What's more, she occasionally wonders, why doesn't Gu Huiyan chase her around? It's not impossible for her. Just thinking about it? Hey! Her left shoulder was suddenly tapped. Pei Jingshu was startled and subconsciously looked to the left. At this time, Gu Huiyan poked his head out from the right. Pei Jingshu laughed angrily and couldn't help but say, "Why do you always like to play with this? He played it once before on Time Singer." She thought it was the effect of the show before the show, but she never thought that he would play like this after the show. Hey hey! Gu Huiyan just smiled. When talking to Pei Jingshu, he rarely explained anything, let alone refuted anything. "Why are you sitting here alone?" Gu Huiyan asked. "Well, be quiet," Pei Jingshu replied. Gu Huiyan sat down next to Pei Jingshu. Alas! He let out a long breath. "Don't tell me, this place is really nice, with shade, backlight, and wind." Pei Jingshu sat next to Gu Huiyan, with the corners of her mouth raised slightly, looking at him quietly without speaking. Gu Huiyan is a talkative person, but he knows that Pei Jingshu talks little and likes to be quiet. His arrival seems to have disturbed her tranquility, so he will try not to make any noise and let her enjoy it for a while longer. The two just sat there, letting the cool wind blow on their faces. Gu Huiyan was in a very embarrassed state, and Pei Jingshu, who had been picking for a whole morning, could not be said to be too exquisite. At this moment, they might really look like the most ordinary young couple. A long time. Eat. Gu Huiyan suddenly took out a green plum from his pocket, handed it to Pei Jingshu, and said with a smile. Dessert. Looking at the green plum in his hand, Pei Jingshu was slightly stunned. She clearly remembered that the green plum was very sour. Gu Huiyan had eaten it for Shang Xuoyan, and Shang Xuoyan was so sour that she shed tears. Why did Gu Huiyan give her this? Seeing the anticipation in Gu Huiyan's eyes, she couldn't help but smile. Good guy, is this bad guy trying to tease her? Just now, Pei Jingshu was still thinking why he didn't tease her, but she didn't expect him to come so soon. Although she knew it was sour, Pei Jingshu still pretended not to know and took the green plum from his hand. Silly, he opened his mouth and took a bite. Hiss, oh. It's so sour. The facial expression management of internal entertainment god Yan Pei Jingshu also turned into a ferocious look. Ha ha. Gu Huiyan clapped his hands and smiled. Pei Jingshu couldn't help but raise her hand and pat him lightly. Her eyes were a bit disgusting, but the corners of her mouth couldn't help but raise. She. First time. I feel that I am very in love. How could you open your mouth and bite it even though you know it's sour? She shook her head helplessly and smiled. Her mouth was indeed sour, but her heart was very sweet. After the meal, Gu Huiyan brought the iced watermelon he bought at the market that day. The old man made fun of him in public by bringing a watermelon knife and reenacted the Gu Huaqiang-style melon cutting in front of the camera. It caused a lot of laughter. It was evening when the plums were picked, and everyone was so tired that they went back to rest for a while without resting. Gu Huiyan cooked dinner. When the old man came back in the evening, he answered a phone call from home. He heard that the family was making dumplings. It seemed like something. May 13th. There is something special about their family, which is to make dumplings for eating on this day. When Gu Huiyan heard that he was excited about making dumplings, he offered to help everyone make dumplings. At first, because he was tired after an afternoon and everyone wanted to eat something good, he didn't think much about it. It wasn't until Gu Huiyan was adjusting the dumpling fillings that they realized the seriousness of the matter. What is Gu Huiyan making? Dumplings stuffed with chives. It's not leek vegetarian, it's leek meat vermicelli. Leeks. Big killer. It tasted delicious. It's on par with garlic. How will the guests eat? Movie King Su and Zhang Shuo bluntly stated that they were on a diet and did not eat at night, and Shen Qingqing had no choice but to say that she did not eat either. But as soon as the dumplings come out, the smell comes out. Well, they couldn't hold it back. Ever since Zhang Shuo tasted a dumpling made with chives, vermicelli, and meat, he was in a state of ecstasy. He never thought that this mouthful would be better than cucumber mixed with deep-fried dough sticks. Gu Huiyan knew how to eat, so he poured a plate of vinegar, added some sesame oil, dipped the dumplings in and peeled off the garlic. When someone asked, he said, I made this dumpling just because of this jealousy. Hey. Call me a particular person. Ahaha. I finished laughing for everyone. I have to say that the dumpling stuffing prepared by Gu Huiyan does have something special. He is not very good at adjusting it, so he made a video call with his mother at home while he was adjusting it. That scene was like the scene where many young netizens asked their parents for help when they didn't know how to cook. It aroused a resonance and contributed a lot of system points to Gu Huiyan. By the way, Gu Huiyan's system points have not been used since he came back from Time Singer, and now he has accumulated more than 20,000. Occasionally, Gu Huiyan would also wonder whether he should increase his singing skills first or change some songs. In the end, just don't use it anymore and keep it. Anyway, points are like money. You will need them sooner or later and they won't rot. Saving money is a good habit. The next day, Gu Huiyan led the team and everyone went to help Ayeo's family for another day. This is probably the last day they will help Ayeo's family, because tomorrow they are going to Lijiang. The countdown to the program recording is coming to an end, and they are going to Lijiang to prepare for the final hand-holding session. Speaking of which, it may be that these 2 days have been too lifelike, and even the heartbeat information is a bit simplified, so everyone has almost forgotten that they are still a romance show. Maybe because they knew it was the last day to stay here, everyone worked a little longer and tried to help out more. Although not all of them had been picked by the evening, Ayeo had nothing to do with the rest. It took a lot of effort. Even if you don't pick it, you won't waste too much. Gu Huiyan was relieved. Yeah. I'm going to Lijiang tomorrow. In the evening, the program team informed the guests that Shang Zuoyan was very excited to finally be able to travel. After 2 days of farm work, she was numb. Fortunately, it worked when she went on the scale, and she lost a little of the 2 or 3 pounds she had gained. It can't be said that everyone is happy, because after all, leaving is equivalent to saying goodbye. The recording of the program is over, and their big family should also disperse. In fact, their family is quite interesting, you see. Xilin and Su Yuntang are like the 2 parents in the family, Pei Jingshu and Zhang Shuo are like the elder brothers and sisters in the family who always have to go out to work, and Gu Huiyan and Shang Zuoyan are like the 2 younger brothers and sisters in the family who have to fight every day. Fighting is not personal. This big family is also quite interesting and has contributed a lot of jokes and various program effects to everyone. The audience couldn't bear to leave them. However, such reluctance, with the support of strong gimmick expectations in the holding hands part, it seems not so eye-catching. What everyone cares about is the final one. Confess love, hold hands. They want to know who confessed their love to whom, Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu, and how they held hands. I hope Gu Laolia won't go all tie pants hot, otherwise the audience will definitely stab him. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 167. In the evening, Xilin walked around the small courtyard, feeling a little reluctant to leave. They will leave tomorrow morning till Lijiang. After the hand-holding session, they will go back to the crystal courtyard to pack their luggage. They may never come back to this place again in this life. Maybe the time she stayed here was not long, just 1 month. There were countless months in Xilin's life, but this month gave her a special feeling. She felt that this month didn't feel like she was working or recording a show, but more like come to live a real and comfortable life for a month. The rest of the people may have the same feeling, and are a little reluctant to leave here. It was around 8 o'clock. When it got dark, Ayeo sent some flour cakes. Probably because he heard that they were leaving, he was quite reluctant to leave, especially for Gu Huiyan. It felt like Gu Huiyan really regarded him as a friend, and he didn't have any celebrity airs. Gu Huiyan said carelessly that he will definitely come back to play when he has nothing to do. The scenery here is so beautiful, and he will bring his family to play in the future to make a lot of money. Compared to everyone else, Gu Huiyan gave everyone a feeling of calmness. It's not that he is heartless, the main reason is that he doesn't like to be pretentious, and he doesn't like to create an atmosphere of separation, which is very sad. On the other hand, Shen Qingqing, Xiao Jiazi had only been here for a few days, and he looked like he was very attached to this place, and even cried. What's funny is that she was crying like a pear blossom with rain at that time, and she couldn't bear to leave everyone. Suddenly, Gu Huiyan came up to her, looked at her carefully, and then said strangely while holding back a smile. Really crying? As soon as these words came out. Puff. Ha ha ha. Everyone was laughing like crazy at that time. I just feel that no matter whether Shen Qingqing is sincere or not, you can't mock her like this. Amidst the laughter, the day's recording ended. Tonight, there were actually no hot topics in Crystal Love season at the beginning. That is to say, Gu Huiyan mentioned one called hashtag on how much Gu Huiyan is guilty. Hashtag. Such a topic. In the past 2 days, Gu Huiyan has been busy helping Ayao's family collect plums and worked in the fields all day long, so he got tanned. Then some netizens on the internet revealed what Gu Huiyan looked like when he first came to Crystal Love season. So a comparison. Hey. That's just like the difference between a normal yellow man and a black dog. Totally two people. At that time, Gu Huiyan had just gotten the system, and he hadn't had time to do any work yet. He was still a newbie. Now Gu Huiyan, no one would doubt him if he was said to be a wild child in the village. It is so appropriate. It seems that because of this contrast, many people were surprised to find that Gu Huiyan was very handsome and pretty when he first recorded the show. Not only at that time, he was also very handsome when he was in Singer of the Times. That was the first time that many Pei Jingshu's fans felt that he was worthy of Pei Jingshu. Isn't this the hand-holding part that is about to begin? Everyone wants to say, Gu Huiyan, do you want to whiten your skin and tidy up? Otherwise, if you really confess your love, you are still so rustic and black. Just like black dogs, aren't you just disgusting? I, Sister Pei, have to like you too. What everyone wants to see is a Gu Huiyan who is worthy of a female guest, not a Gu Huiyan who is a villager. Occasionally, you can be handsome, right? Then there must be time for beauty to rejuvenate, right? As for the opinions of netizens, it was also accurately conveyed to the program team. Take care of that boy tomorrow. In the evening, Mother Zhang gave her instructions. Good. Zhang Nuan nodded. The makeup artist, stylist, etc. had already been found. Early the next morning, before Gu Huiyan woke up, the door to the room was pushed open, and a group of people came in a mighty manner. Wak, what are you doing? Gu Huiyan was in a daze, even without any clothes on, when he was frightened by a stylist. The staff members were also startled and hurriedly retreated. The door to Gu Huiyan's room really needed to be repaired. It had been rotten for a long time. After Gu Huiyan got dressed, they came in and started to help Gu Huiyan tidy up. Gu Huiyan looked helpless, but he didn't refuse. Who told the show to come to an end? After doing eye bags for so long, we can also show off those people's 24K titanium alloy pure eyes for the first time in a long time. It is said that the costume stylist they hired this time was more professional than the last time for Time Singer. At least the costume style selected for Gu Huiyan would not look exaggerated, and Gu Huiyan could still appreciate every outfit. After asking for a while, I found out that it was actually Sister Xilin's styling team. My sister is really nice to Gu Huiyan, and the styling team even borrowed her. In the industry, the styling team and my wife will not be loaned out, okay? Aha! Gu Huiyan yawned and saw that it was only after 6 o'clock. At this moment, he suddenly understood the pain of Shang Zuoyan and the others getting up early to rush for makeup. Gu Huiyan couldn't help but want to complain, but Zhang Nuan told him directly that after leaving Crystal Love season, whenever you have an event to appear on, you have to put on makeup in advance like today. You have to understand that although you are an eye-catcher, you are not a villager, you are an artist. Alright. Gu Huiyan smiled helplessly and shook his head. Now that the recording of the show is about to end, he has to truly adapt to being a popular artist. There is still a long way to go. You have something to decide. Zhang Nuan came over to talk to Gu Huiyan. Weibo has related topics and super words about you, and some fans want to set up a fan club. The name of your fan group has not been decided yet. In the fandom culture, celebrities now have their own fan titles, such as Paper Crane, Tangerine, Deer Antler, etc. It's weird, but fans like it quite a lot. A good fan title can keep these fans talking about it. If it can be interesting, it may be possible to get out of the circle. For example, Icon. Almost. This thing will be displayed on Weibo's super chat. This. Gu Huiyan scratched his head. He really didn't know what to name when you suddenly asked him to name it. Sailor, he asked tentatively. Zhang Nuan. Aim. Can you be more serious? Hey. I also want to be serious. You suddenly asked me to do it and I don't know what to do. Do you have any ideas? I'll collect them, Gu Huiyan said. No, don't worry, just think about it slowly. You can figure it out after the recording is over. Zhang Nuan originally thought that Gu Huiyan, a great talent, should have his own ideas, but it turned out that this kid didn't do anything well. Just as he was thinking this, Gu Huiyan suddenly said. How about we call it, a bag under your eyes? Puff. At that time, Zhang Nuan burst out laughing, and she said in a dumbfounded voice. You call your fans, eye bags. Then they don't call me all day long, why can't I call them? Gu Huiyan was speechless. You call him eye bags every day, don't you like this word? Then Gu Huiyan would just make them all have eyesores. You. Zhang Nuan was speechless for a moment. There were countless things in his heart that he didn't want to express, but he didn't know where to start. In the end, he was so angry. Because the name given by Gu Huiyan is indeed recognizable and interesting enough. If you play well, you may even have a chance to get out of the industry. Only. Calling your fans eyebrows is a bit outrageous no matter how you say it, right? People call their fans tangerines, paper cranes and so on, but when it comes to Gu Huiyan. Eyebrows. Ft. Ha ha ha. Just thinking of this, Zhang Nuan couldn't hold it back. I'll go ask Mother Zhang for instructions. She had no choice but to cover her face and run downstairs to ask Ma Zhang for instructions. She came back after a while. Gu Huiyan thought she had given up, but Zhang Nuan said. Zhang Nuan clapped her hands and applauded after hearing this, saying that this was it, nothing else would work. Gu Huiyan was so dumbfounded. He really just said it casually. He wanted to let those people know that he called them showing off, and he was not allowed to report his death online. This fan club should be completely destroyed. Snapped. Gu Huiyan slapped him on the forehead and muttered silently. What a sin. After all, it was his own fault, and he had no choice but to suffer it. After choosing his clothes, the makeup artist started putting makeup on him. By the way, how did they arrange this hand-holding session? Sitting in front of the dressing mirror, Gu Huiyan asked Zhang Nuan casually. The program crew will definitely announce the show's launch later in the hand-holding session, but the staff must have known about it in advance, and Gu Huiyan also wanted to know about it in advance. Gu Huiyan thought, in ordinary love dramas, the hand-holding part is to choose each other, and they hold hands once they have chosen. However, their show is so popular that it can almost be said to be the most popular show in the history of love dramas, and it can no longer be simply regarded as a love drama. Check it out, it's already a phenomenally popular variety show. The hand-holding session must not be too ordinary, right? Things were indeed as Gu Huiyan thought. The arrangement means there is no arrangement, Zhang Nuan answered Gu Huiyan somewhat mysteriously. Ah. Gu Huiyan was confused. There's just no arrangement. Zhang Nuan chuckled, stopped trying to sell out to Gu Huiyan, and began to explain. The program team actually thought the same thing as Gu Huiyan at the beginning. Their program was so popular that the hand-holding session would definitely not be normal, so Zhang Ma called many planning meetings to ask for plans. I gave several versions, but none of them gave what Zhang Ma wanted. There were indeed a few good ones, but none of them were really satisfactory to Zhang Ma. At this time, there was a planner who was born after 00 and had just started working for Party A after staying up for a few days and nights. He couldn't bear it anymore and didn't want to work for Party A anymore. He said bluntly, "If it's so difficult to arrange, why not just don't arrange it? Difficult? Walk then don't do it." It was originally a complaint, but after hearing this, Mother Jiang's eyes lit up. Yes. The best arrangement is really no arrangement. Leave everything to the guests. Following this line of thinking, Zhang Ma decided that they would not make arrangements for their hand-holding session and let the guests make their own decisions. Abandon conventional choices and counter-choices, and instead give all the decision-making power to the guests. Whoever wants to confess to whom can plan it themselves. In the remaining days, they can confess their love to the guests they want to hold hands with anytime, anywhere at any time. If you have a design, if you want to create a large-scale confession scene or something, you can communicate with the program team. The program team can help arrange and decorate the venue, and even help find actors. These are no problem. It sounds very good and simple. But after listening, walk this. Gu Huiyan was speechless for a moment and didn't know what to say. This will be exciting. This can be arranged by the program team, and the ordinary hand-holding link of choice and counter-choice has been turned into a confession link where the guests decide by themselves. It is indeed a free-range program as netizens call it. The recording of the program Crystal Love Season originally had no formal links, designs, or games. Basically, the guests did whatever they wanted. The main theme was friction creates sparks in life. Therefore, some netizens gave them a nickname before, free-range program. When Gu Huiyan was around, there was still some cohesion. When he wasn't there, the group really just played their own thing, and that's when the word free-range was really taken to the extreme. Gu Huiyan never expected that this would be the hand-holding stage, and they would be doing free-range breeding. It's not that he's afraid of confessing. The crux of the matter is, if 2 people, or 3 people, want to confess to one person at the same time, what the hell is going to happen? Who confesses first? What should I do if the person who confessed my love first doesn't like it? What should I do if my confession is rejected? Will there be a scene where they confess their love together? Then it's directly to the Shura field. In a regular love drama, the holding hands part is to choose and reverse the choice, just choose once, and finally hold hands and leave. No one is in the way of anyone, and the embarrassment is only for a short time. If this is a confession, then the nature of it has changed. Just imagine, 2 female guests confess their love to Gu Huiyan at the same time. What would Gu Huiyan do? The most annoying thing is that Gu Huiyan feels that Shang Zuoyan may be interested in him. If Shang Zuoyan confesses his love to Pei Jingshu first, this will be a huge mistake. It was a longing and sweet holding hands session. The program team chose a free-range hand, which directly made the whole session exciting. Gu Huiyan felt that from the moment he turned on the phone, he was already licking the blood from the tip of the knife and dancing around the grave. But there is one thing to say, if you do this, the effect of the program will definitely not be bad. The audience was proud, but the guests were wronged. In that case, Zhang Nuan laughed and asked Gu Huiyan, "How do you want to confess to Pei Jingshu?" Ah! Gu Huiyan was confused by this question. When did I say that I wanted to confess to Pei Jingshu? His eyes wandered. Then who else do you want to confess to? Zhang Nuan had a scrutinizing expression. What? Gu Huiyan hesitated and didn't know what to say. This old man was so shy here. The makeup artist and several staff members all laughed, and it felt like everyone was looking at Gu Huiyan with onto smiles. Pei Ban takes care of CP is not only criticized by the audience, but also by some staff on the scene. They are on the front line of making sweets, Okay. The boss helped you design several versions. Zhang Nuan chattered to Gu Huiyan and told Gu Huiyan that Zhang Ma had designed something for him. Aren't they going to Lijiang this time? They had to go all the way to Jade Dragon Snow Mountain and end at Lagu Lake, which is also a regular tourist route here. Mother Zhang planned to design a very luxurious confession for Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu. Just imagine, under such beautiful scenery, Gu Huiyan prepared a surprise for Pei Jingshu and sang a love song or something. Confess your love in public. It's so sweet. It's romantic just to think about it. Isn't it too exaggerated? Gu Huiyan scratched his head. He was a bit allergic to romance. Maybe he had fantasized about a confession scene with a group of people blessing him, but in fact, as far as he is concerned, this kind of thing, he thinks, is a matter between two people, and it is more suitable for two people to talk to each other and make decisions in private. Even at the show recording site, he wanted to have as few people watching as possible. Then what do you want? Zhang Nuan felt that this guy who was allergic to romance was really hopeless and couldn't help but ask. Talk later. Gu Huiyan was silent for a moment and shook his head. In fact, he could confess his love to Pei Jingshu anytime, anywhere, at any time. He felt that there should be a suitable time and a suitable place. At that time, he should be able to do such a thing temporarily, rather than planning it in advance and then doing it step by step. Falling in love itself cannot be done step by step. I have to remind you. Zhang Nuan said. There are only the last 3 days left. If you don't confess your love on the last day, it will be regarded as a failure to hold hands. You two will not fail to hold hands, right? That's certainly not the case. Gu Huiyan shook his head. He believed that moment would come within the next few days. And compared to this matter. In fact, what worries Gu Huiyan even more is what will happen to him if Shang Zuoyan confesses to him first and Pei Jingshu first. Refuse. Probably so. No matter how unbearable it was to be in that situation, Gu Huiyan thought, he would refuse in front of Pei Jingshu. That would make the matter very embarrassing, and even worsen the relationship between him and Shang Zuoyan. The previous time, Shang Zuoyan misunderstood me while brushing shoes at night, and they were embarrassed for a long time when they met. That was just a misunderstanding, not a true confession. If a true confession is rejected, then maybe, in the future. The two of them were really speechless when they met. It's not that Gu Huiyan doesn't have a good impression of Shang Zuoyan, it's just that they may treat him more as a friend. As far as friends are concerned, Gu Huiyan doesn't want to lose this friend. As far as friends were concerned, Gu Huiyan couldn't bear to see Shang Zuoyan look sad after rejecting her. A girl like her should be happy and lively every day and every moment, shouting to eat this and eat that. She should not be sad because of anyone. At the same time, almost all the other guests also learned more or less about the program team's free-range hand-holding from their own staff. When they learned about this, it can be considered that everyone has their own secrets, but it can be considered a mixed mood. It is worth mentioning that after pondering for a long time, actor Suze was the first to take the initiative to contact the program team. He couldn't wait any longer. Really can't wait any longer. Even if he is rejected, he will openly express his love to Xylin. A warrior of pure love is one who knows that there are tigers in the mountains and prefers to travel to the Tiger Mountains. There is a south wall to the south, and they will hit it, and they are willing to knock the wall out of the hole and break out of the way. Brothers in the fan group should all know the fan nickname I-Bag, haha. Today is Sister Pei's birthday, please give me a like, my friends. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 168. Early morning. Crystal Courtyard. Movie star Su didn't go to morning exercise. Zhang Shuo did not follow. Shang Zuoyan did not go to dance practice. Gu Huiyan didn't sleep in either. Everyone gathered in the small courtyard early. The weather today is not very good. It is the rainy season after all. The sky is gloomy, the sun is not visible, and the blue sky is completely covered by clouds. It rained last night, and there was a damp smell in the air. The temperature has also dropped a little, so everyone is wearing jackets. Bring some umbrellas, Zylan said. Everyone nodded, almost everyone holding an umbrella. In front of the camera. When it starts broadcasting. It was rare for the guests to not free range, but to stand in a row and listen to the program team's speech just like an ordinary outdoor reality show. Everyone is still exquisite today. It is worth mentioning that Gu Huiyan is also dressed very coquettishly. He was wearing a pair of blue jeans, a slim-fitting style. Although he was tall, he was not fat, and he was quite tall, so his waist was quite thin. Wearing such slim-fitting clothes would make him look thinner. Like a straight board. Choose a white short-sleeved inner with a printed pattern on your upper body. The hem will be slightly tucked into the pants, revealing the logo on the belt, which will also make the entire waist slimmer and more textured. Pair it with a gray close-fitting jacket, similar to a knitted sweater, but in a mid-length style. It feels like it sticks to the body. A jacket increases the proportions of the entire body, making the person appear taller and slender. Tall boys really need to try more mid-length jackets like this. As for shoes, just choose a pair of sneakers, as long as they are not in weird colors, it will look good with your outfit. Gu Huiyan usually wears big pants and flip-flops, but today he rarely dressed up seriously. Just the appearance of this outfit attracted many people to say, "No, is this my brother?" This is not your brother, this is the ultimate version of Gu Huiyan. Gu Huiyan is offline. Has Gu Huaqiang come up again? Ahahaha, don't tell me, he looks really handsome when dressed up. The program team did a great job and heard the audience's voice. On the day of Singer of the Times, Gu Huiyan's exquisite image of a nobleman left a good impression on everyone. He got a nickname that day called Gu Huaqiang, so some people said that Gu Huiyan, who usually wears big pants and flip-flops, is a small one. Gu Lao 6, and the exquisite Gu Huiyan is the large Gu Huaqiang. Obviously, Gu Huaqiang is open for business today. When the cameras showed Gu Huiyan. It's worth mentioning that today, I saw that a makeup artist had put makeup on this kid. His facial features are very delicate. With a little description, his face is quite recognizable and impressive. The key is that after applying foundation, he doesn't look so dark anymore, and he looks really fair and tender. In terms of hairstyle, today I didn't do the more exaggerated back hair, but permed it to create a wool curl effect. The whole thing was slightly broken and covered on the head, giving the feeling of a slightly broken cover. Combined with today's distinctive face, it gives people a lazy feeling. Today, Gu Huiyan is so capable from head to toe. It is really rare for him to play a large number, and everyone almost doesn't recognize him. Don't talk about the audience. Gu is very handsome today. Shang Zuoyan couldn't help but look at Gu Huiyan a few more times and joked with a smile. Haha. Everyone laughed. In fact, not only Shang Zuoyan, but also Pei Jingshu, Zylan, Shen Qingqing, and even Zhang Shuo and Su Yuntang couldn't help but look at him more. You just feel like, is this person really Gu Huiyan? At that time, they only watched Singer of the Times on video. As we all know, the camera can make people look ugly. But in real life, when they saw it up close, they felt like this guy. A little ridiculously handsome. Zhang Shuo felt that his appearance was threatened. Shen Qingqing next door looked at Gu Huiyan with little stars twinkling in her eyes, twinkling and shining. I've always been handsome, okay. Gu Huiyan rolled his eyes at Shang Zuoyan and took out a pair of sunglasses with yellow-pink lenses from his pocket. These sunglasses are his own. He brought them with him when he came. At that time, when he came to participate in the show, he felt that he had lost his image. These sunglasses were the last bit of his stubbornness. But Gu Huiyan put his eyes on his eyes coquettishly, glanced at Shang Xuoyan, and said, "You just lack a pair of eyes to discover beauty." Shang Xuoyan, "I praised you so much and you still got out of breath." She went up and it was a Geo. Ha ha ha. Everyone couldn't help but laugh, these two were still familiar recipes. After the laughter. "Okay, we are about to start our trip till Jiang." The PD teacher from the program team began to talk. "Our arrangement is." They began to talk about the arrangements for the guests, which was probably the no arrangements that Gu Huiyan learned about in the morning. Ah! This. In fact, the guests probably already knew it, but everyone had to pretend they didn't know. Gu Huiyan, on the other hand, grinned but did not expose it. And after listening to the arrangement of the program team. "Walk is so exciting. This is interesting. I really like to see this." The audience was very satisfied. "I think it would be quite interesting." On the contrary, the guests were all worried. It is worth mentioning that after listening to the rules of holding hands explained by the program team, Shang Xuoyan secretly glanced at Gu Huiyan. Gu Huiyan noticed it at that time and was frightened. Fortunately, Shang Xuoyan quickly stopped looking at him, but the fright would definitely not end so soon. "Okay, let's go." After explaining the rules, the program team called the guests to set off. Everyone packed up their things and planned to leave one after another. Before going out, I probably knew that after the recording in Jiang ended, some people might not come back. I just asked the assistant to come back and pack their things. This might be the last time everyone was gone. So Siren suggested, "How about we take a photo together?" "Okay." Everyone agreed. Then, everyone gathered around. The staff of the program team helped take group photos. 3, 2, 1. Eggplant, cucumber. Gu Huiyan made a mistake and called cucumber, which caused a burst of ridicule. The photo is just like this. In the photo, against the background of the crystal courtyard, Su Yuntang and Xilan stood in the middle, Pei Jingshu and Shang Xuoyan stood on the left with Gu Huiyan between them, and Zhang Shuo and Shen Qingqing stood on the right. Su Yuntang and Xilan, the two most seniors, always had faint smiles on their faces. Zhang Shuo still had a stinky look on his face, trying to be a cool idol with a heavy burden, while Shen Qingqing's winking was very artificial. Sister Pei is still very beautiful. She raises her proud head, her long black hair is scattered casually, the corners of her mouth are slightly raised, and she is already crazy. But she seemed to only have Gu Huiyan in her eyes, so she could clearly see her secretly looking in Gu Huiyan's direction in the photo. Shang Xuoyan didn't look very happy. She had her hands behind her back. Xiong Daxian held his head high and looked sideways at Gu Huiyan beside him. His eyes were a little complicated. And Gu Huiyan, caught between Shang Xuoyan and Pei Jingshu. "Don't dare to move." I really didn't dare to move. No one dared to look at it. This picture. In fact, there are quite a lot of elements. But it is precisely this kind of them that is the best of them. After taking the group photo, everyone got on the bus and headed till Jiang. The bus is already waiting for them at the intersection, and they can get on as soon as they exit the alley. There were many seats in the car. Shang Xuoyan and Pei Jingshu each chose a double seat. When Gu Huiyan got in the car, Shang Xuoyan looked at him eagerly with her big watery eyes, her doll-like face full of expectation. But Gu Huiyan still passed her place and sat next to Pei Jingshu. The look of disappointment that could not be concealed flashed across Shang Xuoyan's face. She stopped talking and was no longer lively. She just sat silently by the window and looked out the window. It rained last night. Today is a rainy day. Rainy days in the south are different from those in the north. The clouds here are floating on the edge of the mountains. After the rain, there are many clouds and fog. You can see the clouds and fog. The fused images are like a fairyland. There will be villages along the roadside. Many of the village buildings here have white walls. If you look around, you can see a stretch of white buildings extending into the mountains. They are plain and simple. People say that the best scenery when traveling is on the road, and the scenery is indeed attractive. I am honest, but the mood itself is not very good, but it will always be aggravated by the rainy weather. Shang Zuoyan couldn't help but glance at the seat next to her. She was afraid that it would always be empty. In fact, the female guests seemed to be in a relatively normal mood except for Pei Jingshu. This was how a world in which only Pei Jingshu was not injured was achieved. It was already more than an hour later when they arrived in Lijiang. They were going to the ancient city of Lijiang. During the summer vacation, it is actually the peak tourist season here, and there are people everywhere. However, because of the rainy weather, there may be fewer people than usual. The program crew didn't call for bodyguards or staff or anything like that. They just asked the guests to move separately and cover their faces as much as possible so as not to attract onlookers. In fact, some of the passers-by offline these days are relatively well educated. As long as they are not the kind of fans who hear the news in advance and come to watch, they won't stick around them all the time. It's not a bastard meal. Careful. When getting out of the car, Gu Huiyan reached out and held Pei Jingshu, and Sister Pei smiled slightly. Everyone went to the ancient city. The ancient city here was actually much more interesting and flavorful than the ancient city of Dali. It was indeed very commercial, but it was much better than the ancient city of Dali. The ancient city of Dali is no different from commercial streets across the country. No difference at all. In the bar street at night, it is even more eye-opening to see people stabbing their butts with a knife, just like the 8 major alleys. In fact, they had no plans to come to the ancient city of Lijiang, for fear of causing onlookers. The main reason was that the actor Su said he wanted to come here to meet friends, so everyone just followed him to have fun. It is worth mentioning that there are many in the ancient city here. Many sell flower cakes and tea. This is a tourist city. Many tourists come here for tourism, so naturally they want to take some local characteristics back with them. Usually I just buy some flour cakes, beef jerky, tea, etc., which can be mailed back. Not long after getting off the car, Gu Huiyan saw a shop selling flour cakes, and a clerk greeted him. "Would you like to try it, handsome?" "Oh, that's fine." Gu Huiyan grinned and actually went over to taste one. But after tasting it, he didn't buy it. Instead, he said hello first and continued to follow everyone inside. After walking a few steps, he came across another shop selling flour cakes. Gu Huiyan tried another one. "Eh? Is that Pei Jingshu? Wow! That person looks like Shang Zuoyan. Isn't that Siren? Are you Gu Huiyan?" "Ah! Jiangshuo." On the road, tourists recognized them one after another, but there was nothing they could do. Except for Shen Qingqing, each of them was more popular than the other, so it was strange that they were not recognized. After all, they are the top young people. Pei Jingshu, Shang Zuoyan, and Jiangshuo are very popular, especially Pei Jingshu. Almost every passerby will shout in amazement when they see her. "Wow, she's so beautiful." When he sees Shang Zuoyan, he will shout, "She has a great figure." When I saw Jiangshuo, his words were more mixed. There are some who call him handsome, and there are also those who show off to each other face to face. In short, they have a little bit of everything, which made my country, Jiangshuo, twitch the corner of his mouth. Many people recognized Gu Huiyan. It is worth mentioning that after walking around, Gu Huiyan collected many things in his hands. It's not really a gift, it's mainly snacks and snacks bought by some tourists locally, and they will be stuffed into his hands and fed to him. Even Xylan and Pei Jingshu didn't confiscate so much food. The reason is actually very simple. In the eyes of many passers-by, Zhang Shuo and Su Yuntang may be the real top stars. People may not be interested in them, nor may they value their worthless snack gifts. But they knew very well that Gu Huiyan absolutely liked and admired him. This guy is a master who eats soy milk and fried dough sticks very well. This is indeed the case. Because it is not a very valuable item, and Gu Huiyan is not resistant to some special snacks, he almost refuses everyone who comes, and after receiving everything, he will taste it immediately in front of the person who sent it. He would try one when he passed by a flour cake shop, and there were so many dear people feeding him, so before he had gone very far, Gu Huiyan was almost full. That's it? Would you like to eat flour cake, handsome guy? Passing by a shop selling flour cakes, the clerk asked if he had actually gone there to eat them. No, Gu Huiyan, you. Shang Zuoyan was so angry that she couldn't help but say. Don't you know how to refuse, or do you really want to take advantage? She didn't quite understand, why did this kid taste it in every house? That's not how you take advantage, right? The crux of the matter is that they are a group of celebrities. She felt embarrassed walking with Gu Huiyan. This is not to blame Charlene Shang. Even if they are not celebrities, they are just traveling companions. If one of your companions has a master who tastes everything, you will feel embarrassed. You have to have enough to take advantage. Haha. The audience was also happy, and they couldn't help but express. I was also thinking that this old lady changed her gender after going to the big picture, and she was such a show-off after being in trouble for a long time. So he won't taste it in every house, right? Ha ha ha, I think he really wants to take advantage. Everyone was talking about it. When the cameras showed Gu Huiyan, my brother Gu was holding a large bag of food given by passers-by and friends, carrying a bottle of drink and drinking, burping and looking like he was full. Facing Shang Zuoyan's words, he smiled silly and said. When I called my mother yesterday, didn't I hear that the recording was about to end? She asked me to bring her some souvenirs back. Yesterday, he talked to his mother on the phone while making dumplings. I thought this flour cake was pretty good, but I didn't buy it before, so I thought about trying them all and buying something delicious to send back. The Gu Huiyan in the camera may be dressed very noble, maybe the clothes he wears are not cheap, maybe he is now a star, popular and sought after, and people can recognize him when he walks on the street and feed him like crazy. But he still gives people the same silly and naive impression, just like the boy next door that every ordinary person can see in their daily life. And these words fell. Everyone immediately fell silent. Those who make fun of Gu Huiyan, those who say he has bulging eyes, those who say he is embarrassed, those who say he wants to take advantage of the common people. All gone in an instant. Instead, it's a piece of I'm so damned good. I wake up in the middle of the night wanting to slap myself. Gu Huiyan, can you tell me in advance in the future? Don't do this, please. After a long time of fussing, the reason why Gu Huiyan tasted a piece of flour cake in every family, even if he couldn't eat it, was to choose the one he thought was the most delicious and send it back to his family. So now he is just like going to the market that day. He wants to shop around and eat from beginning to end before finally deciding which one to buy. To be honest, Gu Huiyan is really thoughtful. Many young people who travel, even if they want to buy things for home, just find someone to buy them for business. This is not their fault. The main reason is that traveling is tiring and troublesome, and you have to think about these things. Really, I'm going to be exhausted. But even if Gu Huiyan had a lot of food given to him by the dear man, he was full and still wanted to try as many as possible and find the best ones to send back to his family. This kind of heart is enough to make people admire him with admiration. Ding, the host has successfully grounded himself and gained exposure, and the points are at 91x15. System points are credited to your account. By the way, Gu Huiyan himself also found that the more refined he was, the better he looked, and the more system points he would gain when he worked hard at that time. The same thing happened last time in Time Singer. This made Gu Huiyan want to dress up all the time. Gu Huiyan doesn't like makeup, but he can't bear the system giving him too much. At this time, after listening to Gu Huiyan's words, Xilan, Pei Jingshu and others looked at him with a softer look. "Let me help you taste it together." Pei Jingshu even said this. Flour cakes are not high in calories, but they are actually a type of carbohydrate. Celebrities generally do not touch carbohydrates. Pei Jingshu, a female star who wants to maintain her figure, takes the initiative to try it because of Gu Huiyan. Carbohydrate, she is really good. She is not a foodie like Shang Zuoyan, so this is definitely not a reason to eat, and no one will doubt her. As for Shang Zuoyan, to be honest, she really wanted to slap herself now. Why did she ask that question? Now, Pei Jingshu was fooled by the good guy, and she became the bad guy who disliked Gu Huiyan and was embarrassed. But actually, she was also quite impressed by Gu Huiyan. The more you get to know Gu Huiyan, the more you feel that behind all his silly and naive things, he is quite annoying. And the more this happens, she became more and more worried about the upcoming hand-holding session. I will try my best not to write about Shang Zuoyan from the beginning of the next few chapters. I left her at the end. Every hand-holding session with the heroine has been designed. It will be very touching. Please look forward to it. Then after the love drama ended, I held back a few things and tried to speed up the progress recently. I look forward to meeting you all soon. And finally, actually, I want to talk about the plot. I read the book review section and the group chat, and probably a lot of people think that after the romance drama ends, it will not be good to read, and that after the romance drama ends, there will be no highlights. But what I want to tell you is that love variety is just a starting point, and our real highlights are still behind. This is not just a book about variety shows, it is entertainment. Movie King Su's food show has not been written, Sister Xilan's drama has not been written, Shang Zuoyan's tour has not been written, Pei Jingshu's singer contest has not been written, and even Xiao Gu's first album has not been written yet. The sugar and medicine are all ready, but before I can even put them into my mouth, tell me why the love story is the climax of the whole book. For those who left now and before, I can only say that you have suffered a great loss. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 169. Gu Huiyan. Try this. This is delicious. The dear people and tourists are so enthusiastic. Throw everything at Gu Huiyan. Many people saw someone in front of them giving Gu Huiyan something to eat, so they all followed suit. Gu Huiyan was a very down-to-earth person. He almost had to take a bite to determine whether the gift was good or bad, so after walking all the way, he really couldn't bear it anymore. I can hardly taste the flour cake. Later, when he was forced to do so, Gu Huiyan only took one to taste when he saw some crowded flour cake shops. Luren did not dare to accept anything he gave him. There are so many shops selling flour cakes here, almost everywhere. The merchants here are very enthusiastic and often let tourists try them. Tourists who come here tell the truth, they can eat a flour cake in every store and get enough to eat, and they are free of charge. Maybe they knew they were recording a show here, so even though they were low-key enough, they still attracted some people to watch. Fortunately, they soon arrived at a bar on the north side of Sifang Street owned by a friend of the movie star Su. In the ancient city, whether it is Lijiang or Dali, there is a bar street. It is actually quite lively at night. Lijiang is known as the capital of romance, and many tourists come here at night to have an affair or something. Su Yuntang's friend is called Brother Bing. He is tall, thin, and a very enthusiastic middle-aged man. He wears some bracelets on his hands and looks quite stylish. Of course, the taste is definitely not as good as that of Suyuntang. The walking hormones are no joke. At noon, Brother Bing made a meal and found a local restaurant near the elementary school and had a few bites. The food is good, but unfortunately, Gu Huiyan has no stomach and can't eat anything. Brother Bing is so enthusiastic. If Gu Huiyan doesn't eat, it's like he doesn't show respect to others, so he has to force down a lot. Pook. Pei Jingshu laughed and couldn't help but say, "If you don't want to eat it, don't eat it." She was afraid that Gu Huiyan would eat too much and hold on. Gu Huiyan smiled bitterly. Sometimes, you can't refuse something if you want to. Our country's society pays attention to a person's worldliness. It is worth mentioning that during the meal, actor Su and Brother Bing went out for a while. When Gu Huiyan went out to use the bathroom, he bumped into them and found that they seemed to be plotting something. Without thinking too much, Gu Huiyan was still thinking about reminiscing about old times. After eating, they rested for a while in the hotel. The local tour guide the program team had found for them arrived. So everyone went to Jade Dragon Snow Mountain. Jade Dragon Snow Mountain is definitely a very famous attraction in Jiang. Almost all tourists who come here have to climb it. It is not difficult to climb. You can almost reach the top of the mountain by bus or cable car. It is only a few steps away from the top of the mountain. It's just that the 100-meter steps are not easy to climb. As for why it's not easy to climb: lack of oxygen. The highest altitude of Jade Dragon Snow Mountain is 5,596 meters. You are really not kidding. Maybe it's because he hasn't been to the plateau area very often. Gu Huiyan doesn't have much idea about high altitude. Before going up the mountain, when the program team distributed oxygen bottles to everyone, he asked Gu Huiyan if he needed an extra bottle, and he said no woolen cloth. Plateau has nothing to do with physical fitness. Usually, the better your physical fitness is and the more muscles you have, the higher the amount of oxygen your body needs, and the easier it is to become deprived of oxygen when you reach a plateau. Gu Huiyan was young and strong, and he usually liked sports. He was almost the most vulnerable to hypoxia, so the tour guide asked him to get an extra bottle. Unexpectedly, Gu Huiyan glanced at the others and found that everyone else was holding a bottle. He waved his hand and said, "Who are you looking down on? A straight man who cares about face too much and doesn't take the lack of oxygen seriously at all." Pei Jingshu smiled slightly when she saw this, said nothing, and silently called her assistant to help get an extra bottle. Pei Yat. Aiming. It was about to reach the holding hands stage. Pei Ya was not in a good mood recently. She felt that her sister was really going to be fooled by that old man. But in fact, she has also thought about it recently. Gu Huiyan may be a villager, but he is talented. It will be of great benefit to Pei Jingshu to squeeze more songs from him. Of course, she must try to control Pei Jingshu's devotion to Gu Huiyan. Try to pay as little as possible and gain more. The main thing is companionship. After grabbing oxygen bottles and down jackets, everyone went up the mountain. On Jade Dragon Snow Mountain, not only is the oxygen content low, but the temperature is also low, so everyone needs to prepare down jackets, otherwise it is easy to catch cold. Although the weather is not good today, the snow-capped mountains are not closed and the whole journey is considered smooth. There were a lot of people in the scenic area, but fortunately Gu Huiyan and the others went up by chartered car instead of taking the bus, so they were recognized almost when they were riding the cable car. Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu were sitting on the same cable car, and two staff members were sitting opposite them. Is this the plateau? Gu Huiyan didn't even use the oxygen bottle during the car ride all the way up the mountain. He thought he wouldn't need it. Now he was bragging carelessly, saying that he didn't think I might need this for the whole journey. Pei Jingshu smiled lightly and said nothing. Someone on the barrage is saying. "Pht, it was the same as him when I went to high altitude for the first time. Believe me, Gulalu will not look like this after getting off the cable car. The really scary places in Jade Dragon Snow Mountain are after getting off the cable car. Things are indeed as netizens expected. On the cable car, Gulaoliu even said carelessly that he might not even need an oxygen bottle, so he got off the cable car. Huh, huh. Before even jumping a few steps, Gu Huiyan was out of breath and couldn't walk. He was holding an oxygen bottle and huffing and puffing. Are you still looking down on the plateau now? Pei Jingshu tightened the black strands of her shawl, looked at her gently, and asked with a smile. Snapped. Gu Huiyan put his hands together, made a gesture of Mudun Zhen thousand hands, and bowed to the top of the snow mountain, saying, I'm always in awe. Pook. Pei Jingshu was immediately amused by him, covered her jade hands and laughed softly. Ah ha ha. The audience also laughed, and after a while, Sister Xylan and others also came up on the cable car, and then everyone walked up the mountain together. It's raining today. There is fog on the snow-capped mountains. It's almost impossible to see anything clearly. But even if you can see clearly, there's nothing good to see. The top of the snow-capped mountains is bare, full of stones and dust, except for a piece of black, white and gray. People can hardly see anything. Everyone only knew that there was a 4,680 stone tablet waiting for them, and when they got there, it was almost the end of the trip. Originally, Gu Huiyan was good at things like mountain climbing. When he was at the bottom of the mountain, he even boasted and said, I almost didn't take a breath when I climbed Mount Tai. Why don't you talk to us Shandong people about mountain climbing, are you kidding? 18 plates of labor and capital soared up. In a word, small case. In Gu Huiyan's eyes, apart from those steep ones, is there any mountain that is more difficult to climb than Mount Tai? At that time, Gu Huiyan brazenly told Pei Jingshu, Xylan and other female guests that if you can't move up the mountain, I can be your crutch and take you up. But what about now? Walk, wow, I can't do it anymore. Gu Huiyan, the old man, couldn't walk more than a few steps before he had to stop and take a breath from the oxygen bottle. On the contrary, Pei Jingshu and Xylan looked weak, but they walked faster than Gu Huiyan and took in less oxygen. Xiao Gu, can you do it? Xylan sat in a corner and teased Gu Huiyan from a distance. Why are you so weak at such a young age that you can't even walk a few steps without having to take a breath? Gu Huiyan. At that time, Gu Huiyan was speechless and didn't know what to say. I feel offended. Ah ha ha ha. After hearing this, the audience and guests burst out laughing, and the comments all expressed. See Eileen, can you do it, little dog? Ha ha ha, sister said he was vain. Sister Xylan's words are not very harmful, but very insulting. A man is most afraid of being laughed at as incompetent, frail, and young. These words cannot be used together. Never use them together on a young boy. Just talk about Gu Huiyan right now. He was feeling really uncomfortable. The crux of the matter is that he also wanted to climb up as fast as he could and risked his life, but he couldn't climb more than a few steps and had to stop. He was so tired. In the past, when Gu Huiyan watched TV, he always saw people who went to plateau areas to take oxygen all day long. They couldn't walk even 2 steps before they cried out that they were tired. He also laughed at them for being fake. I also felt that if I went there would be no problem and I would definitely be better than them. As a result, now, he seems to be worse than others. Climbing mountains in plateau areas feels really different from climbing in plain areas. The difference is huge. Take Gu Huiyan for example. He did feel tired climbing Mount Tai, but he was young after all. He was panting while climbing. It was just like running. Once he controlled the rhythm, it was just like that. At most, after climbing for a while, his muscles are sore and he can take a few breaths and rest, and then he can continue to climb. He is like a perpetual motion machine. He feels that he has no limits, and he can still climb and climb. You can climb the Jade Dragon Snow Mountain. It was only a short distance of 200 to 300 meters, and there were still built steps. If he couldn't climb 2 steps, Gu Huiyan felt like his whole body was being hollowed out. He couldn't move no matter what, and he had to rest. You obviously feel that you have rested well, and your whole body feels energetic after taking a few breaths of oxygen, but stand up and crawl. If you can't climb a few steps, it will feel like you have been hollowed out. It feels like a water bag, the water is leaking out, and there is almost nothing to replenish it. Gu Huiyan even wondered if there was a kid lying on him secretly rubbing his body to absorb his fighting energy. This is too much consumption. It shouldn't be. Just say that Gu Huiyan came to the end of the journey. His mental journey can be described in one sentence, that is. Walk, walk, wow, hum, wow, wow. Yes, that's it. Very appropriate. Haha. The audience, guests, and director team all laughed like crazy. Gu Huiyan is usually very restless and very energetic all day long. Some people on the internet gave him a nickname before. Fire? He had nothing to do all day long, either running around or working like crazy. Good day. Due to the lack of oxygen, his whole body felt as if it had been hollowed out. He felt tired even to speak, let alone to work. It is really rare for everyone to see such a virtual Gu Huiyan. At this moment, the entire internet was laughing at Gu Huiyan's emptiness. Actor Su actually likes Gu Huiyan today. He thinks this kid is quite handsome even if he doesn't work hard or talk. It is worth mentioning that it is not only Gu Huiyan who is virtual, but also Shang Zuoyan and Zhang Shuo. Huh. The two of them walk slower than Gu Huiyan, and when they came up, they were also out of breath and looked like they were hollowed out. They usually practice dancing, so their oxygen demand is actually relatively high. No one laughs at Zhang Shuo for being empty, because usually this guy is just like an empty young man. On the other hand, it was Shang Zuoyan. She seemed to have no energy anymore, and she no longer played with Gu Huiyan. Her doll-like face had no expression. How's it going? Is it okay? Gu Huiyan asked Shang Zuoyan. Shang Zuoyan was holding an oxygen bottle and sucking it. She could not squeeze out a smile on her weak face and rolled her eyes without speaking. On the other hand, Shen Qingqing, this little clipper was quite good at being a good person. He chirped over and helped Zhang Shuo up, shouting brother Zhang Shuo one after another with great joy. She is petite and probably has a low oxygen demand, so she is really the smallest among the group. Gu Huiyan pressed his oxygen bottle a few more times and found that it seemed like it wouldn't come out. After shaking it and pressing it a few more times, there was still no oxygen coming out. Only then did Gu Huiyan confirm that it was really gone. Gu Huiyan was embarrassed at that time. When going up the mountain, he had no idea about plateaus and altitude sickness, nor how long an oxygen bottle could last. He kept saying that one bottle was enough, but even one bottle might not be needed. As a result, now, even before climbing to the top, I have used up a tank of oxygen. The crux of the matter is, he has used up all the supplies and has no backup. How the hell is he going to find the rest of the way? Program team. Gu Huiyan was about to call the program team to ask if there was any spare, but suddenly, Pei Jingshu, wrapped in a pink down jacket, walked over. He took a bottle of oxygen from the assistant and handed it to Gu Huiyan. Her hands were very thin and white, as if there was a color difference between them and the pink and white down jacket. She whispered, "Use this." Gu Huiyan was stunned for a moment and asked Pei Jingshu, "What will you do if I use it?" He remembered that when he went up the mountain, each assistant prepared his own for the artist, so there probably weren't many. As a result, Pei Jingshu's pretty face turned red, her eyes averted, and she said softly, "This is, brought for you." As soon as these words came out. "Oh. The barrage is maxed out? Sister Pei. I knew it. So they are really talking. You can't fake it? So can you two just hold hands quickly? Pei Ban takes care of CP once again made it to Oita. Thanks. Gu Huiyan took the oxygen bottle with a naive smile. To be honest, it felt quite comfortable to be cared about by others. In fact, many of the relationships between boys and girls today are not equal. When boys and girls fall in love, many of them are unilaterally given by boys, and girls are only responsible for receiving them. It is a birthday gift, a Valentine's Day gift, a Chinese Valentine's Day gift, so much. It is clear that the relationship between boys and girls is mutual. We should give each other gifts, care for each other, and take care of each other. The man should provide the bride price, and the woman should provide the dowry, right? Why do secular concepts always require one party to pay unilaterally? Look. Female stars like Pei Jingshu Pei can sacrifice for Gu Huiyan, why can't girls sacrifice for boys? A group of fairy men in the comment area were moved to tears by this scene. Let's just say, there is a reason why Sister Pei has so many male fans. Who said there is no great emperor in the human race? You're welcome. Pei Jingshu smiled slightly, nodded and walked away. After resting for a while, Gu Huiyan and the others continued walking up. In fact, the higher you go up, the harder it is to get up. When he first got off the cable car, Gu Huiyan could still walk up one flight of steps at a time. Later, he could only walk up to a dozen. In the end, he wanted to stop and rest after only a few steps. It's so uncomfortable. Gu Huiyan even wanted to say that he would not be able to come to the plateau if he was beaten to death by labor and management. Some netizens commented harshly, saying, "The only one who can restrain Gu Huiyan is Gao Fan. The only thing that can make him talk less and work less is natural factors." However, Gu Huiyan was never the kind to give up easily. Even if his steps were heavy, he could no longer walk, and he would have to rest after walking only a few steps, he still kept going up. While walking, Gu Huiyan couldn't help but look at his followed with distress and admiration, and asked, "Camera teacher, aren't you tired?" Gu Huiyan himself felt quite tired walking up like this without carrying anything, but his camera teacher was carrying heavy equipment. The cameraman took a breath of oxygen, said nothing, and continued filming silently. Gu Huiyan couldn't help but step forward and patted the elder brother on the shoulder, saying, "Thanks for your hard work." This sentence is indeed sincere, and the sympathy on Gu Huiyan's face can be seen in the camera. There may be some moments, some things that only Gu Huiyan can notice. People like Su Yuntang and Zhang Shuo only care about moving forward and never care about cameras, staff, etc., because they know very well that they are recording a show, and managing their image as artists is the most important thing. Gu Huiyan was probably the first, last, and only one to pay attention to whether the cameraman was tired. Ding, the host has successfully grounded himself and gained exposure, and the points are at 91x5. A prompt sound came from the system. Although the audience didn't say anything, they were actually quite moved. These days, nothing is easy. Before the audience could praise Gu Huiyan, who knew that the old man turned around and said to the camera, "You also saw it, I'm not a fool, I walk slowly on purpose to wait for my PD." As soon as these words came out, puff. The audience burst into laughter at that time and couldn't help but complain. "Why the hell do I still want to praise you? A phantom is a phantom, don't make excuses for yourself, okay? See Eileen, can you do it, little dog? Man, what a ridiculous face. Gu Huiyan is so obsessed with saving face. He is a straight man. He wants to save face even if he finds reasons to be shameless. He cannot say whether he is really empty or not. His tough-tongued character really makes people laugh and cry. In this wave, even the system wants to say. Geneva refunds, points. Mountain. Ding dong. Actor Sue's cell phone suddenly rang. He glanced at the phone, then couldn't help but look up at Xylan, pursed his lips, and suddenly felt a little excited. He had been waiting for so many years, and it seemed like he was just waiting for tonight. If you want to go further, you need to break the boat. Maybe he also understands that if he fails to express his love in public, then it may not be as natural for him and Xylan to meet in the future. But those who can't give up anything can't change anything. Tata opens. Tata is on. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 170. Chapter 170. Here comes the first one to confess his love. Gulen listens to the song of love. It's about to break up. On the way to the mountain, some dear people recognized Gu Huiyan and others along the way. However, it was already strenuous enough for everyone to climb the mountain, and they didn't have much energy to chase stars, so not many people actually came over to ask for photos and autographs, and they could only say a few words. Climb all the way. Finally, Gu Huiyan reached the top. When he saw the 4,680 stone tablet at the end, and when he saw that there was no road behind him, Gu Huiyan finally breathed a sigh of relief. Huh. He gasped and slumped down on the steps. At this time, a gust of fragrant wind came, and Pei Jingshu came over and squatted silently behind him. She held a tissue in her delicate hand and handed it to Gu Huiyan and said, "Wipe your sweat." Gu Huiyan was stunned for a moment. At this time, he was sitting on the steps, Pei Jingshu was behind him, and their faces were actually quite close. He turned around, and Pei Jingshu looked over. The two people's eyes met in mid-air, and Pei Jingshu's delicate and pretty face came into Gu Huiyan's eyes. Plop, plop. For a moment, Gu Huiyan's heart beat faster. For a moment, he wanted to open his mouth and kiss her. People say that two people who like each other and are in the ambiguous stage cannot look at each other for more than 3 seconds, otherwise they will kiss each other. What happened? Pei Jingshu's pretty face was slightly red, but she didn't avoid her eyes. Her watery eyes seemed to be expecting something. No, it's nothing. But Gu Huiyan flinched at this moment. Maybe he wasn't ready so quickly. Of course, the next moment he flinched, he regretted it. He said before that he doesn't like big scenes that have a sense of ceremony and are witnessed by many people. Instead, he likes those things that happen naturally. But just now, it is clearly the most perfect opportunity that comes naturally. He didn't do that. Obviously, just lift your chin and kiss, that's it. Of course, Gu Huiyan did not deny it. It might be because no one was the first to truly confess during the holding hands session. In fact, now whether it is Gu Huiyan, Pei Jingshu or others, they seem to be waiting for others to confess first and set a pattern for them, so that they can dare to truly confess. But everyone wants to wait for others to go first, and no one will be the first. It's very difficult to do. After taking the tissue from Pei Jingshu, Gu Huiyan wiped the sweat from his forehead, rested for a while, took a few photos with everyone on the snow mountain, and then went down the mountain. Just a few hundred meters away, going down the mountain was much easier than going up the mountain. After all, we were going from high altitude to low altitude, and Gu Huiyan didn't use much oxygen when going down the mountain. After taking the cable car down, they didn't go back directly. Instead, they played in the Blue Moon Valley for a while. The water in Blue Moon Valley is really blue. It is said to be the melted snow water from the snow-capped mountains. The tour guide responsible for taking them said that washing hands here will bring them good luck. Wash 3 handles. A handful of official luck. 2 fortunes. 3 lucky draws. For good luck, the guests each washed a few handfuls. When he arrived at Gu Huiyan, Xiao Gu had washed 2 hands. Someone asked him why he didn't wash a few more hands. He said that he just needed wealth and love luck. There should be no hope for official luck in this life, but career luck would be fine. At this time, Pei Jingshu glanced at him, her eyes a little subtle, and said, "Love luck. Does he still want to have good luck?" Gu Huiyan was at a loss for words for a moment and felt at a loss. Ahaha. It caused a burst of laughter from the audience, and everyone said that you should be more careful. When we returned from Jade Dragon Snow Mountain, it was already past 6 in the afternoon and almost 7 in the afternoon. The sky was still blue and it was not dark yet, but everyone was very tired after the day, so they went back to the B/U0026B booked by the program team to rest. After dinner, it was almost 8:30. Before 9 o'clock, at the suggestion of the actor Su, everyone went to Brother Bing's bar in the ancient city that they had visited in the morning. The ancient city at night is brightly lit and full of people coming and going. It had rained in the afternoon, and the stone roads in the ancient city were a little damp. The shoes Gu Huiyan wore were flat and slippery, and he almost slipped several times. Pei Jingshu always walked beside him habitually when she saw this, trying to pull him as much as possible when he was about to slip. Woohoo! Shang Zuoyan was very happy and took Sister Xylin around here and there. In fact, for them, it will be more relaxed and comfortable at night. After all, it is dark, so not so many people will pay attention to them, not so many people will recognize them, and there will not be so many onlookers. For top artists like them, not being surrounded by people is already a very luxurious and rare freedom. Would you like to come in and play handsome? Wouldn't you be beautiful if you drank some wine? Come in and listen to the music. When you come to the bar street, there will occasionally be some clerks at the door of the bars to greet customers, calling them to come in and play. Gu Huiyan couldn't help but said jokingly. Some people know how to go to a bar, but some people don't know how to listen to music in ancient times. This phenomenon is not common in the bar streets of Lijiang Old Town. Only 1 or 2 people come out to attract customers every few doors. You can go to the next door Dali Old Town and visit the bar streets at night. Good guy, it's like you're following the Bada Hutong. As both men, actor Su and Zhang Shuo couldn't help but laugh, and chatted with Gu Huiyan on the corresponding topic. In fact, when Gu Huiyan had no income as a trainee, he would occasionally go to a friend's bar to sing, so he actually knew a lot about everything in the bar. On the contrary, Pei Jingshu and Shen Qingqing are not interested in this. Girls are always relatively reserved, but the environment in these bars is really quite desirable. Have you ever been to a bar like this? Gu Huiyan asked Pei Jingshu. Pei Jingshu was a good girl. Seeing how she looked at everything new, Gu Huiyan felt that she had never been here before. No. Sure enough, Pei Jingshu shook her head gently. Then follow me later, don't get lost, Gu Huiyan said with a smile. There are a lot of bad guys here. Hearing this, Pei Jingshu smiled softly. Although she had never been to such a place, she was not an innocent girl, let alone a big-name female star. How could she be abducted by bad guys here? However, in order to agree with Gu Huiyan, she nodded slightly. She also knew that Gu Huiyan was joking. In a deserted corner, Gu Huiyan secretly held Pei Jingshu's hand. Pei Jingshu was stunned for a moment and looked at Gu Huiyan, but Gu Huiyan didn't even look at her, as if he would explode if he looked at her more. Pei Jingshu blushed, but she didn't pull her hand back, she just let him hold it. It was dark and the two of them were relatively close, so the scene of holding hands was not actually captured by the camera. When they arrived at the bar, they said hello to Brother Bing, and the clerk took them to the reserved booth. The lights in the bar were dim, but there was also a lively atmosphere. The Qing bar will not be so noisy, and many of the people who come to play are local tourists. They sit at their own tables, chatting about their own things, sometimes laughing, and sometimes raising glasses. The lights illuminate the faces, making them look very carefree. This is nightlife. It's just that when Gu Huiyan saw a few customers occasionally, he always felt a little familiar, as if he had seen them somewhere. The most interesting thing was that when Gu Huiyan looked at several familiar guests, they immediately turned their heads away, as if they were afraid of being recognized by Gu Huiyan and the others. Gu Huiyan was puzzled. They, a group of celebrities, were not afraid of being recognized by others, so why were a group of passers-by acting like they were afraid of being recognized? Gu Huiyan didn't think much about it and just drank his own wine. The others seemed to have noticed this scene, and Xylin frowned slightly, because she knew several of them. Very familiar. Well. She held her forehead silently, sighed softly, and made a big wave, as if she had guessed something, but she had no choice but to use soldiers to cover up the water. It's worth mentioning that the song the singer in the store sang was none other than A Diao by Gu Huiyan. This song is a folk song. After its release, it quickly caused a shock in the folk world and has been widely circulated since then. In this kind of tourist city, it is suitable to play folk songs, and Gu Huiyan's A Diao is very suitable for the atmosphere here, so it is naturally sung often. He doesn't sing as well as you. Zhang Shuo sat next to Gu Huiyan and gave Gu Huiyan a rare compliment. What if Gu Huiyan was also happy? He is the original singer after all. In fact, after hanging out together for so many days, Gu Huiyan and Zhang Shuo have become familiar with each other, and gradually the initial smell of gunpowder is gone. Ha ha. Everyone laughed for a while, and soon Brother Bing came over to chat with them, and told Gu Huiyan and the others that they could go up and sing a few songs if they wanted. Several of the people in this group are professional singers, including Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu. These two are famously capable singers. The shock of Under the Flying Clouds is still felt in the entire vocal circle. A myth. I'm definitely not afraid of singing live in a bar. Okay. I'm all here to have fun, to yi-la-er, it doesn't matter when the atmosphere is up to singing, but it may not be now. Gu Huiyan is now, so he still wants to listen and watch first. During the chat, Gu Huiyan noticed that Shen Qingqing seemed unhappy. He came from the B/U0026B that night and didn't even see her touch him. What's wrong with you? Gu Huiyan asked. The little clip suddenly stopped snoring, and he wasn't used to it yet. As a result, Shen Qingqing looked at the camera and then at Zhang Shuo, pouting her little mouth and secretly telling Gu Huiyan. We are leaving tonight. Ah! Gu Huiyan was stunned for a moment. There was a lot of information in these words. Who are we? Also, why are you leaving tonight? So Shen Qingqing explained it to Gu Huiyan. We refers to her and Zhang Shuo. As for why I'm leaving tonight, it was because she was going to confess her love to Zhang Shuo tonight. According to the rules of the show, the person who confessed her love could not continue to walk the rest of the way with everyone, and would have to end the recording and leave early. If the hand-holding is successful, both people will leave. If the hand-holding is unsuccessful, one person will leave. Very extreme. But it's easy to understand. After the confession was successful and they held hands, there was no need to continue the relationship. The two of them were so sweet, so why did they let others eat dog food? If the confession fails, wouldn't it be embarrassing to stay? This is also the original setting of the program team. But Gu Huiyan didn't expect that Shen Qingqing and Zhang Shuo would leave so soon. What Gu Huiyan didn't expect was that Shen Qingqing didn't want to leave so quickly, and this confession was not what she wanted. Mainly because Zhang Shuo's schedule couldn't be accommodated and he had to go back a day or two early, and she was responsible for cooperating with Zhang Shuo. So their so-called confession, to put it bluntly, is just to deal with official business, deal with the audience, and deal with an ending. Shen Qingqing has no choice, let alone decision-making power. When she came here, she signed an agreement to cooperate with Zhang Shuo in CP speculation. She is a victim and has no value. But so suddenly, Gu Huiyan felt a little sorry for this little clip. Of course, it is not mixed with any feelings between men and women, it is just out of humanitarian distress. Although she usually has tea in her tea, she doesn't seem to have any bad intentions. She just likes to get some heat. The key point is that every time she tries to get along with Gu Huiyan, she still doesn't understand and screws up and gets laughed at. Although everyone knows that the CP in front of the screen is hype, Crystal Love Season is more of a program effect. But even the sweetness in the show is mixed with so much sadness and agreements. What's the point of this confession? To be honest, Gu Huiyan's mood was a bit complicated at this moment. It wasn't all that he felt sorry for Shen Qingqing. The main reason was that he didn't expect that they would break up so soon. Although they knew that the countdown to their separation had begun from the moment they left the crystal courtyard, they still did not expect that tonight. Two are about to go. Gu Huiyan was still stunned. Pei Jingshu next to her suddenly said softly, "I have enough schedule to finish the recording, I don't need to, don't have to rush." Ah. Gu Huiyan didn't react at first after hearing this, but soon. Ah. He scratched his head and laughed in a silly manner. Is she afraid that she will misunderstand something? Gu Huiyan has never thought about this, okay. Also, is she hinting that Gu Huiyan can take his time and confess his feelings without being in a hurry? The red and blue lights of the bar swept across Pei Jingshu's beautiful face, making it impossible to tell whether she was blushing, but her expression was slightly shy, but it was completely concealable. To be honest, Pei Jingshu would look out of place in a bustling environment like a bar. It's not that she is out of place, it's that her appearance and temperament are out of place here. Pei Jingshu's appearance is gentle and not offensive, and her temperament is like that. Everyone is a lady, just like a famous lady. Netizens say she is, by Yueguang, the ceiling of pure desire. A girl like her should make an appointment with her best friend to go to a coffee shop to have an elegant afternoon tea together, instead of appearing in a brightly lit bar on the street. She is like a fairy who fell into the mortal world, but she does not dislike this mundane world, but enjoys it. Sister Pei. Netizens have also begun to indulge in sugar. Crystal Love Season has come to an end in recent days, and the recording time is relatively long and late. Many netizens are following it all night long, afraid of missing the last detail. Now that I think about it, they were lucky to pursue it this way. When Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu spread sugar, it was never at a critical moment, but always in some details. Unfortunate fate. Obsessed and indifferent. Farewell to youth, countless stations. In the middle of the bar, the singer finished singing a song, and everyone applauded. Then a friend of the boss, Brother Bing, said he wanted to sing a song. She is a good-looking girl, said to be a female singer, who comes here to play. Oh ho! Pa bang bang! Everyone cheered and applauded. The girl went up and sang a song in front of the audience. Her singing was pretty good, but it was still far behind professional singers like Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu. Normal singers could listen. But when she was halfway through singing, suddenly, the big screen in the bar behind her suddenly stopped showing the lyrics and instead showed some photos of her and a boy, who seemed to be her boyfriend. The girl was still stunned, but suddenly a boy rushed up with a bouquet of flowers. Kneel down. No, kneel down on one knee. Oh. At that time, everyone in the bar was shouting like crazy. Is this a confession or a proposal? Gu Huiyan and the others were very excited while making sweets beside them. Don't tell me, it was really exciting to watch other people confess their feelings live. Isn't it more exciting than confessing to yourself? After all, it is eating melon, Who doesn't like eating melon? Brother Bing came on stage to assist and handed the microphone to the boys. The boys said a lot of love words, which were all about their past. The girls covered their mouths throughout the whole process and looked excited with tears in their eyes. When a boy says I like you, everyone shouts. Promise him. Promise him. Promise him. This kid Gu Huiyan actually shouted too. At their table, he was the only one shouting like an ordinary dear man. No one else shouted, for fear of being recognized and attracting onlookers. Xylin smiled bitterly and shook her head. Her brother is always very energetic. What she didn't notice was that a staff member came to their table and secretly handed a bouquet of flowers to Su Yuntang. On stage, the girl nodded repeatedly, as if she had been waiting for this day for a long time. In the end, they kissed each other in the presence of many people in the bar, and the whole place burst into tears. This man seems to be a second-generation rich man. After his confession was successful, Brother Bing shouted for him. Master Zhao will pay for all the expenses tonight. Ah! Then there were all kinds of screams. A kingball became noisy because of a confession. Everyone probably got the benefit of the doubt, so no one had any opinions. And just at this time, the store owner, Brother Bing, did not go down, but after everyone gradually became quiet, he smiled and said, "What about tonight? Actually, there is another one, a good friend of mine, who wants to confess to the person he likes." Everyone was stunned when they heard this. Why the hell does it have double? Before everyone could react, Brother Bing said again. "Where is this friend? Many of my friends may know him." Many guests were confused by this. How could so many people know his friend? Then just when everyone was still confused, boom! The lights in the store suddenly went out. When it was pitch dark, a beam of light suddenly hit Gu Huiyan's table. What the hell? Gu Huiyan and the others were still confused. Suddenly, oh! Many people in the store stood up and gathered towards them. A lot of people appeared behind the store, and they were all coming towards them. There were many familiar faces among those people. Gu Huiyan had thought they looked familiar before. As he took a closer look, he realized that they were some very well-known actors and entertainers. Some of them seemed to have filmed with Su Yuntang and Xylin. Perhaps because the effect of the couple's confession just now was so strong, Gu Huiyan almost forgot that many people in the store looked familiar, and gradually relaxed his vigilance. But Xylin, she never seemed too surprised. She always looked like an acting teacher, looking at the man and woman who just confessed their love with a scrutinizing look. To be honest, their acting skills are average. If it weren't for the atmosphere in the bar, it would be quite embarrassing. What the hell? What the hell? Isn't this someone who is guilty? Wow, why is Sister Gia here? Who wants to confess? It can't be Su Yuntang, right? It must be. Ah! He finally got it? The melon eaters didn't know the truth, but they just guessed that Su Yuntang was going to confess, and the barrage exploded at this moment. In fact, in everyone's impression, for a person of Su Yuntang's style, if he wants to express his love, he must do it in a winery, villa, or a place like a rose field. Witnessed by a group of friends, the oath was made to heaven and earth. To be honest, they didn't expect Su Yuntang to choose a place like a bar. It feels like he's being downgraded a bit. They thought, Su Yuntang must have a reason, right? Surrounded by crowds, Su Yuntang, who had seen all kinds of big scenes, couldn't help but feel a little excited and nervous. When he won the Golden Horse Award, he had never been so nervous before when he went on stage to receive the award and gave his acceptance speech. He has been waiting for this day. For a long time. A long time.